All right, Hassan, how you doing? What can I do for you? Hope you're having a good day.
Hi, yeah, thank you. Like in the last two spaces,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been able to be for a long time, so I haven't been able to ask this question.
Sure, go
I
ahead.
think it's a simple one. Um, it's about the NFTs. What's the difference? Because I hear that from people who are like against NFTs. They say, why should I buy an NFT
Mm-hmm.
when I can just take like a screenshot
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically the same? So, what can you tell me about that? Like, what's the difference? One, I know it's better but I also can take a picture and
Mm-hmm.
looks the same.
You're absolutely right. So you can duplicate an NFT all you want, or a picture, into a million ways, right? What makes an NFT original, collectible, desirable? Those are things that I can't necessarily speak to. Probably, I don't know if you're willing to come up, but Captain Futurist, you're into NFTs. There's a few other people that are into NFTs that could really speak better.
Do you want me to?
Yeah. Sure, go for it, please.
To answer the basics.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you're not just buying a picture. Okay, I know there was an NFT rush a few years ago. So obviously, when you have a picture sitting on blockchain is more than that. So you actually what you're buying or investing is an address that sits on a specific blockchain that has some data on it, made by a specific creator, and it's being it can be traded. All right, so this is the whole thing. Now the main point is not the picture or to buy it or download it or share it, whatever. That is just that you can go and copy whatever NFT you want and you have it on your in your gallery, and that's it. But as it comes to linking to a blockchain, the guy who owns it, it has a value. The guy who has the picture, it doesn't have anything.
It's the original artist in a sense, right?
Yeah, is the asset that sits on that address made from that creator, and that's it.
We've talked about this before in the sense that, let's just say that, one artist makes a piece of art and then he wants to make it into an NFT, right? And let's say somebody copies that and then they are able to make the NFT first. Technically, they own it, right? Even though they're not necessarily the original creator of that art. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just a real fringe idea, of course, right? But just think of it like original artwork that is in, traditional 3D, paintings and stuff like that. There'll be a lot of copies, but there will only be one original. I don't know, Captain, if you want to chime in on that too. Yeah, come on up, Captain. Yeah, if you want to speak to that, the more the merrier. It's an interesting topic. I gave you the mic. I don't know if you I show you.
Especially with the popular one going down in price right now.
Sorry, Marius. Getting a lot of static and almost like it's a loose connection or something.
Yeah, I was just going to explain in a different sort of terminology.
Sure.
So you imagine when you go to the shop and you buy your everyday goods, you get a receipt, proof of purchase.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk back into that shop to, I don't know, exchange some pair of socks or a pair of trainers, whatever it may be, you're going to need your proof of purchase.
Right.
The simplest way of looking at it is an NFT is just a receipt.
Mm-hmm.
You can have different kinds of NFTs, not just images and art, contracts, etc.
So is the NFT, let's just say we're talking about a JPEG, right? Is the actual image of the JPEG encoded within the blockchain, or is it essentially just like you said, a receipt for that item, for that JPEG?
Well, the way the internet works, so obviously with all the data through IPFS, is all that metadata is essentially like the same data that's on your receipt.
Mhm.
So if I was to pull up that data on my internal database, i.e. the blockchain, you could see the time, transaction. So if someone was to pay by card, for instance, just standard in your shop, all that is actually on the internal systems for the store, for instance. It's just basically that back end of everything. We all know him as just like, JPEGs and that, because that's sort of what the hype and everything's been. And this is something that Sam, I believe, was what, in regards to the LunaSky and, the borrowing, NFTs, etc.
Mhm.
This is one of the pivotal things that why they believe so well in LunaSky, to be fair.
Gotcha. So before I get back to Hersan, but for you as an NFT artist, right, what case could you make to somebody who doesn't know anything about NFTs that would make them think, is there anything that you could say that would say, okay, well, this is what makes it different. This is what makes it unique. And this is what makes it collectible.
I guess intellectual property rights, when it comes down to sort of disputing who an original owner or creator or anything is, when you, it's the same with any information on the blockchain. The banks and all work on private ledgers. So you just imagine with blockchain technology, you've got a little guy running around with a black book. This is it's irrefutable to the fact that I was the original creator. I created it this day. And if I went to court, because you know how expensive court cases can be, and it kind of makes that process a lot easier beyond reasonable doubt, because unless you can counterclaim the fact that, you've got... Because back in the day, when we used to make songs, we used to send the CDs to ourselves in the post. And it used to have a stamp on there. And that was a way that if we ever, wanted to prove that we released this album way before anyone even put it into public domain, etc., it was a way of sort of... So it's basically that, but in future technology.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I think it makes... probably for collectors in terms of art or music, it makes less sense to the general public. But when you're getting into other elements within NFT spaces, such as ownership of, let's say, property or perhaps ticketing or something like that, it's a little bit more tangible to see how the value is there. Bard, go ahead if you want to respond to that.
Yeah, I was just going to say an NFT is basically a letter of authenticity. You can go into a thrift store and buy a painting, and there's no way of you proving that so-and-so actually painted a picture, or if it was a copy. You find Mona Lisa at a yard sale, it's probably not the real Mona Lisa. But with an NFT, you have that proof of authenticity, who the creator was, where it traded, how much it traded for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That makes sense. Go ahead, Hersan, and then I'll bring up CWP, and then we'll move on.
Okay. See, I think what you guys just said about like a singer or a writer, that would make a lot more sense, because instead of sending the song back to you through mail, it's just right there,
Right.
Now, I don't know if you try to take a screenshot from a Netflix on your phone, you can't. It's black. I think down the line, like if LunaSky can do something like that, that way no one can copy, screenshot that NFT in that platform, in that website, it would be a lot cooler.
I wasn't aware of that. So if you tried to take a screenshot while you're watching a Netflix movie, it'll just be black?
Black, yeah, you can't.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
So I thought about that for LunaSky. Like that would be a way of protecting anybody's NFT.
That's
I don't think the other platforms do that.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's web code that you can add to the platform. That's very doable. I've seen other websites that do that, where they disable the capability to both read source code and to make screenshots.
Interesting. Thank you for the question. I really appreciate it. CWP, go ahead, man.
Just to add to that, you used to not be able to get Netflix on a Linux machine because Linux can copy anything. And there's still ways around that. Instead of a screenshot, you can. There's other ways to capture portion of the screen. So, but I understand why they're doing that. There's a whole lot of issues. I want my comment on NFTs. I collect. By the way, I have not an NFT, but a JPEG of a LunaSky NFT that I've been unable to purchase. So I buy and collect images that have some emotional meaning to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it for investment purposes. I will probably never sell any of mine NFTs that I've collected. However, there's an interesting thing for if somebody inherits the NFTs that I own, then they will have a proof of the original artist's work. That is on the blockchain. That's the one thing that distinguishes them to me from a JPEG.
Right.
And that's the important part of it from the standpoint of an artist, since you cannot copyright AI art. You can proof of ownership of your creation, however,
Right.
on the blockchain.
Right.
I'd like to make a quick comment on the screenshot argument. So when you view these images on Twitter or on the web or et cetera, there's 72 dots per inch. You're seeing a display of that image. You're not seeing the actual image. When you purchase an image, you get the full resolution. That goes into your wallet. That's what you own, not the 72 dot per inch version of it that you see on the web.
That's a really good point.
Yes, correct. But with the one particular that I mentioned, I still have the emotional connection to that image, even though it's not the NFT.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you again for the question.
But still, I wouldn't connect it like as to what the content is. Let's say the picture, but more or less like if you think about it, that is an address on a blockchain that has some attributes on it. That's the easiest way to think about it. Because okay, yes, you're buying something that it makes more sense to see a picture there, to see something.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, a wallet address with few attributes is what you actually get. That's the asset.
Right. Exactly. Go ahead, Captain. Go ahead, Captain.
So I got me
Sure.
PC on listening. I have a little bit of a delay, so I've got the mic audio down on the phone. I was just going to say, in regards to what CP was saying, you do have that essence of so for myself as an artist, anything that I've created, so we've put it all through LunaSky. That's the first place that we've essentially had our journey as an artist, if that makes sense. The same with a lot of people that first minted with LunaSky, and all that is history in itself. So you imagine like when Elvis Presley was first sort of like bringing out his old actual physical records and that, when people had them original record copies, it's sort of the nostalgicness of having that but a digital version.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's see here. Gonna go ahead, Christopher Egner. Do you had a question or comment?
Hello. At first, I informed I had this week again interviews, but didn't get a yes. One interview was bad because after 15 minutes I saw, we both saw it is for nothing. Yes, so we broke up. But another one, let's hope I get soon a new job. So following, do you think we will coming week launch LunaSky? Because now people say end of quarter 2. This is on Friday, and on the other side, yes, Sam's posting, yes, it can take longer, and then from Cody who said, yes, final testing underway. What do you think? Impressions? Thank you.
What do I think? If it'll be within the week?
Yeah, do you think on Friday we will release because quarter two?
That is something that I wouldn't even hazard to even guess, because I know what Cody had said through the official LunaSky, in that, right now they're, and we'll get to that in a minute. Actually, we'll go through what the actual post was. But so, I mean, if I were a betting man, I would say it's soon. We've talked about this before, like, it's within weeks. But there's so many things that I just don't even understand. Rocket would be the best person to really be able to give you an indication of, comfort level. Like, I remember Cody was, on the last 2 spaces ago, or 3 maybe, he was pretty confident he would be there by the end of the month, right? I mean, obviously, you can't say at the end of the last day of this month saying, okay, well, it's time to eat some socks. Inside joke there, but it's possible. We could be there, plus or minus. What is reasonable? Plus or minus 1 week. I think it's pretty reasonable to say that's a prediction. I don't know. I don't know, Rocket, if you have time to come up and comment on that or not.
Y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, actually a little muffled. I don't know if it's just me.
Well, I'll tell you, once Twitter allows you to speak on spaces from a PC, I'll sound a lot better, I promise. We'll get there. But can you make me out okay, at least?
For me, can anybody hear Rocket okay? It's just really muffled on my end. Do you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear him, or if you can hear him okay?
Quite audible.
Very muffled to me, but
Yeah,
I can
okay.
understand him.
Very muffled. From a scale of 1 to 10, how muffled are we talking?
But now you're not. Now you're.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to walk around the house.
Okay. Keep walking.
All right. How are we over here?
I think you're pretty decent.
Okay. All right. So the question, of course, is when, right? That's
Like,
always
is that
the question.
WEN or?
It's WEN.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's always tough, right? Because I'd love to say just as a person, like, hey, it's going to be out this day, but you really don't know. Like, there's so many factors. It's like trying to predict the weather a couple weeks in advance without checking the forecast. It's kind of tough, right? Because we're actually getting into this final bug bash, right? So it's the final look over before launch, and that's going to determine when we launch, right? So if the things that are found on that bug bash are minimal, well, it's going to be pretty soon.
Right.
If something more substantial is found there, then it'll take a little more time to fix. So it's really hard to make a prediction when there's an unknown like that.
Yeah, quarter two is coming. It was always told end of quarter two. We are coming to it. So So it is reasonable question in the interest of the whole community.
It is a reasonable question. So my question would be then to the community is, what bugs are we going to find during Bug Bash? How long will those take to fix? If they're going to take a few days, awesome. If it takes a week, well, it takes a week. See, I guess I answered the question with a question. I just don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's going to depend on what is found.
I would hope that nobody wants it released with bugs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, there just really isn't a point, especially if it's something that's, if we find something, it's solvable. I mean, there's no reason to not just fix that before launch. It'd be kind of silly not to.
Right.
And that's why we're doing this final bug bash.
We're this far along, right? I think it would be very, very hasty to just say, okay, well, just for the sake of, technically we said Q2, to get it out there and with bugs. I mean, I just think that would be a huge mistake.
Well, yeah, because what'll happen then, let's say, for example, I'm not saying this is the case, right? It could be that the bugs are minimal, we're able to get it out in pretty short order, but we don't know yet. Let's say there's bugs and we try to release it with the bugs. Well, then we're going to have to spend, the following, week and a half or 2 weeks, not only doing customer service, watching for bugs that are found after launch, but then fixing the bugs that we already knew we had to fix.
Exactly.
And that would just be overwhelming.
Yeah. You got
right. I'd rather
twice the
have
workload
the
or more.
bugs cleared, the ones we know we can clear, have them cleared out. So then the community can find all new bugs, right? Because there's always going to be something. You can't predict every single device or every pixel someone's going to click. There's bound to be something.
Right.
But We want to get as much of that out of the way as possible, so that way the community can have a smooth experience.
I agree. I hope that answers your question, there, Christopher.
I mean, it's not the question. It's not the answer anyone wants, right?
Yeah, of course.
Everybody wants the answer of, yes, it's going to be such day, and I wish I could say that. And I could say it, but I don't like disappointing something out of my control happens. Like that just stinks. Yeah. So I'm optimistic, but we'll see.
I don't want that answer, Rocket. I want the answer. I want the answer to be when it's close to perfect, as much as it can be.
Yeah, and that's about all I can give, right? Once it's there, that's when it'll launch.
I'm going to go with when you and Cody say it's ready, then I'm going to say it's ready, right?
Yeah, and that's pretty much the way it's going to go down. But yeah, I mean, we're happy with it now. It's just a matter of making sure we're not missing something, right?
Yeah.
We want to get other eyeballs on it, make sure we're not missing anything, because, I mean, we've all seen things launch, whether it's like a video game, software. There's always some awkward bug that's found the first day. It's like, how did you guys miss this, right? You were working on this for years. How did you miss this one dumb typo or this one zone such and such? And, the goal is to minimize that as much as possible.
Exactly.
In polished launch.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. Thank you for saying that. We'll go back in. How are you doing on time today, Rocket? Do you have time to?
You know what? I have all the time in the world for you.
Awesome. Because we're going to come back to that, because I do have a question for you about kind of how we're going with the bug bashing and stuff. So,
good. Okay.
I appreciate it. Go ahead and read a couple comments here, just from Habibi, EverGrow Pug. Just popped in to say hello and then grabbed my phone and I'm gone. All right. Thanks for dropping in. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Frank NFT says, didn't Sam have a deadline for the devs? If they missed, will be penalties. He did absolutely say that. Now, I think that was related to Atlas Wallet, to my knowledge. And was that also for LunaSky, Rocket?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, we haven't shared what those deadlines were, what the penalties are,
but you can't hold them to everything, right? Because what if you move the goalpost on them, right? On certain things.
And that's the thing, right? The good news is that the devs that we have are really accommodating, because I get ideas and there's things that I want to add in, which may technically not be part of the the original plan, but it may take just a few minutes to do something. And they're really accommodating. So
that's really cool that they're able to work with you.
Oh yeah, they're great about it.
Last statement was Matt Healy. He said, question for the team. What platform will Lucro Games be on? That's a great question. Such as EverGrow website or Lucro's own gaming site, maybe. That's a great question. I don't know if Rocket, you would be willing to answer that, or if you want to wait for Paul or Sam to talk about that.
No, it's a good question. I'm not sure that I want to answer it.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Cool. I appreciate it. All right. If you guys are good, we'll go ahead and roll right into the space here. I know we got kind of a little sidetracked, but that's all good. I appreciate the natural ebb and flow of things. So welcome, guys, to Twitter Space number 44. Obviously, we talk about EverGrow and all the utilities, including LunaSky NFT Marketplace, Atlas Wallet, Lucro Games, and EverGrow Staking. Of course, there's much more to add to that eventually. So I usually cover some news at the very beginning of each space. Last week, I covered how BlackRock was just taking a bold move of getting into Bitcoin through ETFs. And the market responded as expected for Bitcoin, with BTC up almost 48% in a year. That's pretty crazy. I was a bit surprised that BNB didn't follow suit over the last 30 days. BNB is down around 21% and only up around 1% over the last year. I think with everything that's going on with their lawsuits and all that stuff, I think it's kind of keeping the pressure down, and maybe the attention is just solely on BTC right now. So, yeah, the move straight to BTC kind of just shows you how much influence the big players like BlackRock can have, really. Fidelity also said that they have a crypto wealth managers will be coming, and Fidelity's, they're worth around $9.5 billion. So just wait until the other big players start getting in on the action. While I think BTC will see the biggest gains, I think the trickle-down effect will continue, because the amount of potential money there is to be had It's just unbelievable in crypto. Like we've said many, many times, adoption is key. And for those that buy and hold crypto, more awareness means more adoption. So it's a good thing. It's an absolutely very good thing. There's this interesting article I read. One company that has entered into the crypto space in an unexpected way is called Milo. So Milo will allow you to leverage your crypto assets by using your crypto as collateral to qualify for and secure a mortgage. So typically in the past, if you wanted to purchase a home and had liquid assets, you would need to obviously use those funds to purchase the home, or at least demonstrate that you had access to those funds. But crypto was never part of that equation. So bank underwriters typically do not look at crypto holdings at all, and they cannot be used to determine asset value. Milo is taking the next step in adopting crypto, which I'm sure will totally catch on with mainstream lenders. Milo, I guess, is only about 3 years old, and they've already lent out about $100 million in the last 15 months. That's pretty impressive. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that all kind of plays out. I did see a tweet earlier this week from Lucro Daily called This Month in Crypto. I really appreciate these kinds of macro views because it's really easy for us to get focused on the daily developments of daily crypto prices and all that stuff and what's going on. So we zoom out a little, we just get a real broader view. And in that tweet, they said on June 5th, the SEC sues Binance. June 6th, the SEC sues Coinbase. Then on June 14th, Bitcoin falls below 25,000. June 15th, the very next day, BlackRock files for spot Bitcoin ETFs. Then 4 days later, June 19th, Fidelity plans to file spot Bitcoin ETFs. Next day, crypto exchange backed by Citadel, Fidelity, and Schwab launches on June 21st. Launches. Then on June 21st, Fed Chair Jerome Powell says crypto has staying power as an asset class. Then June 23rd, SEC approves the first leverage Bitcoin futures ETF. And then on the 23rd also, Bitcoin climbs above 31,000. This is all in the span of, what are we talking, less than 3 weeks. All of these things have happened. And like I said, there's so much money to be made in crypto. There's a lot of big players in there, and we're just seeing just a little glimpse of these people getting into the crypto market right now. And obviously they're going to focus on the big daddy, which is BTC, but there's so much opportunities outside of BTC. I think it's really so important to emphasize just how early we are in crypto adoption. Just because some of the big players are getting into the market doesn't mean that it's too late now. The ETF move, in my opinion, is just the very beginning. There's just such an enormous amount of opportunity for profit within the space. So I thought that was really interesting anyway. Sometimes we talk about scams too. So this one, it was kind of a little bit interesting. This particular story that I read here was pretty heartbreaking because the scammer took advantage of somebody who's not only a single parent, but also has health issues. The company was and is called 247 Trade Growth. It reads as this. The victim, a single parent with health issues, received a direct message via Instagram from a friend who told her that he had invested $1,000 and got a return of $10,000, and that she could earn money too by contacting Sherry Thaddeus FX on Instagram. The victim did reach out to Sherry and told her she was interested in investing. Sherry was very smart and said she mined Bitcoin. She also claimed to be an account manager and told the victim she would give her high returns on her investment. The victim sent $2,000 to purchase Bitcoin and transferred it to Sherry, who told her she had set up an account with her trading company, 247tradegrowth.net. At some point, the victim's account balance showed that she had made a profit of about $21,800. But when she attempted to cash out, the victim told that she had to pay a withdrawal fee of $3,650. She then contacted Sherry, who convinced her to invest another $1,000 worth of Bitcoin because she had done so well. After a week, the account showed a profit of $45,800. This time, when Sherry told her that she needed to pay a withdrawal fee, the victim sent $3,700. She had to borrow the money and followed the list of instructions Sherry sent out, but was told her withdrawal was pending. She contacted Sherry again, who told the victim to give the support team access to her Instagram account, including backup codes. The victim soon received messages from the support team saying she needed to pay more fees, up to $12,400 in order to upgrade her account to comply with the SEC regulation, as her account balance was so high. She called Sherry and pleaded with her that she needed her money back, but Sherry didn't reply. At this point, she realized that it was a scam and reset her Instagram account again. She found out from Instagram that the support team tried twice to access her account for more money. Later, she learned that her driver's license and social security number had been placed on the dark web. She also learned that the friend who had contacted her about Sherry had also had her account hacked, and so it wasn't even her friend who gave her who first contacted her. Really, really sad stuff. The takeaway on this, in the online world, we engage with people all the time through social media, and we really take for granted that our accounts and our friends' accounts are pretty secure. If anyone, including your friends or family, reaches out through social media with financial tips or promises of unrealistic gains, you should be suspicious. Another thing is easy for scammers to show you their trading platform with crazy profitable games that you think are yours. That 50,000 that you thought was all your money was all fake. It's just a fake site. They're not even real numbers. It's really, really sad. Another thing to keep in mind too with AI, you can expect scams to be increasingly more, convincing, because, phone and voice chats, impersonators can all be potentially indistinguishable from the real thing. If you want to see this scam or other types of scams, I found this on the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. The website is dfpo.ca.gov. In the last example that I provided you, the user Sherry Thaddeus FX, who was operating the scam, I looked it up this morning. That person is still in place and has an Instagram profile. The first pic is an older woman holding a sign saying, "I'm debt-free." All kinds of screenshots of deposits of account. Really disgusting stuff, really. So yeah, that just is really disheartening when you see people take advantage of that, hardworking people, in this case, a single mom with health issues and all that stuff. So I'm going to move on a little bit. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. I see somebody's requesting. I do not recognize them, so you just have to give me a minute. If somebody doesn't mind looking them up real quick, I don't want to just bring up anybody random. Let me know if you think they're okay. Another scam, which was I saw revealed yesterday, was by Certic, and it was related to Shido token. It was really interesting on this one. So this was a case of a malicious flash loan that caused a slippage of 97%. In total, almost 239,000 was stolen. I'm not exactly how they were able to exploit the contract. I think it was they were trying to do migration or something. Sam actually responded to this one. I was kind of surprised. And he said that in this tweet, watching things unfold at Shiba Global, and I'm 100% with Bjorn Shido and the team as their terms of the actions which they've decided to take. And here's why. Long-term Shido holders took all the early risks, supported the project during rough times, paid taxes that built the ecosystem. EverGrow holders know exactly how painful it is to loyally support projects while they build. Without holders like that, DeFi could never survive. Then with Shido, a single mistake, yes, I'm not defending that. Those holders lost 97% of their value, allowing opportunistics to dive in and massively dilute them. Shido decided the fair thing to do was to halt trading and restore the price / holdings to where it was before the exploit. To those who benefited from the criminal actions of the hacker are upset about this. All I can tell you is that if EverGrow ever experienced the same thing, my loyalty would be 100% with the existing holders, and I would do exactly the same thing to restore the pre-hack situation. Crime and DeFi should not provide any advantages to anyone. DeFi needs to legitimize itself, not continue with this Wild West approach. Yeah, that's interesting stuff. Go ahead, CWP.
The verbiage around crypto is quite obscure, and that's one of the issues that is harming adoption of crypto out there in the world, because there's a whole new language around it. And I'm curious if there's anybody on this space that doesn't understand what slippage is and whether you should explain it.
Yeah, no, I think we've talked a little bit about slippage. I don't think I can provide a really good, I know how it works. Rocket, I don't think we've talked about this in the past. Do you maybe want to get a a short version of what slippage is and how does it work?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the highest possible level, slippage is the difference between that, that price you see quoted versus what you actually get.
Okay.
That difference is slippage. That can be caused by either volatility, taxes of the token, liquidity provider fees, a number of things. But at the end of the day, it's just the difference between what you expect to get and what you actually get is slippage.
So if you have, let's say, a dollar, the token is worth $1 and a slippage of 5%. So you would have to set a 5% or greater slippage?
Sure. So you'd have to cover that. It has to cover, obviously, liquidity provider fees and then volatility. Okay. So if the token has lower liquidity, your trade or other trades in that same block can change the price quite a bit. And if you want your trade to execute, you're going to need up to slippage.
Gotcha. Thanks. Now, I know with the EverGrow, basically on our EverGrow site, it automatically calcs that in. I don't know how that works exactly, but I know with Pancake that you actually have to manually put in slippage if it doesn't do it automatically, right?
Yes.
CWP, do you have a kind of, we've all been there, I think, at some point where we were looking at slippage and our eyes were crossed and we're like, what do we do with this? Our transaction's not going through. And we just had to figure it out. So it's a great question. Let's see.
On Pancake Swap, I've put the slippage in real low to see if it would execute, and then keep incrementally increasing it when I was first doing that, trying to learn what slippage was and understand it, which is an interesting little thing for anybody who's has an experimental mind to try.
Yeah. Do you, when the transaction does not go through because of an incorrect amount of slippage, do you still get a little bit of a microtransaction fee, and do you lose a little bit of money?
A little tiny bit of gas fee, yes.
Gotcha. I know I've tried before, and I'm like, where did that couple dollars went to, right? And this was at the beginning. Now I rarely have an issue with that at all. Rasan, I'm going to go ahead and bring you up again. Just give me 1 second. Just take a minute to connect. And then we'll get into the good stuff. Rasan, go ahead.
Yeah, with the question that the gentleman asked about slippage, do you think, and I go back to that in general, do you think it would be too much, like if down the line EverGrow has like, and that would be like part of the ecosystem, to have an area where you can give an explanation to every possible term in crypto for normal people?
You mean like a definition, like a
yeah, like in that way, EverGrow would become like a Wikipedia of crypto. You want to know something about? Just go to evergrow.com and
that's a great idea. Anytime you're educating people, I think that's you're providing people with confidence. They're going to EverGrow and they're saying, hey, what is this? And a glossary of terms. I think that's a great idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every possible term. And that way people will love more EverGrow because not only, educate them to.
That's a great idea. I'll definitely make a note of that. And I know Rocky gave a thumbs up on that. And I think it's a great idea too. Thank you for that. All right, I'm going to give...
on a funny note, is like if you go right now in a chat, Discord or Telegram, I'm pretty sure people will ask stuff that they can find on Google. We did it so many times.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I understand like I get the idea, and it's tricky.
When I first looked up slippage, I think I got a very generic answer that didn't really help me. You know how sometimes when you search something on Google, you're like, I have no idea what you're even like. That wasn't exactly what I was looking for.
Kind of like the first answer I gave you.
What was that, Rocket?
Kind of like the first answer I gave you.
Yeah.
Very vague. It's accurate, but not very useful. Rocket GTP.
I try.
GP. I said that humorously, but also I think that Chat GTP gives much better responses than than Google, because it's right there in front of you, and Google you got to dig.
I'm glad you said Google. I thought you were going to say ChatGPT gives better responses than Rocket, because I'd have to agree with you, and it would have been a blow to my ego that I couldn't take today. Thank you.
Great question. EGC Mike, how you doing?
And
that's right, Maris. Did you have a comment?
yeah, especially on crypto, like finding the right sources, like the ones that you can trust, is a thing, obviously.
Right.
So yeah, having one site to trust, that you go there and find the like proper material to read, or the terms, or because you can easily get scammed or connect to a D-app and everything. So yeah, sources are a thing.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. EGC Mike, how you doing? I don't know if you can hear me. You've got the mic. I know you wanted to come up and speak. By all means, more than welcome to come up. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I did have one. I'll wait just a second here. I did have one more comment here from Matt again, Matt Healy. Hey, Steve, in a previous space, you mentioned you didn't want to come away from the EverGrow brand in the community store. How about an Atlas Wallet community store where we offer projects the option for merch, which EverGrow can take a cut of the profit for buyback and burn? Just an idea. I think that's an excellent idea. One thing that I had thought about was the name EverGrow Store. I wanted to do two things: unite people in EverGrow around a kind of a common store where you could buy things that supported EverGrow, right? But a lot of people, maybe like Atlas Wallet, turned off because of the idea of kind of that what was the term that Paul uses? Maybe Rocket, you might know, but that
tribalism.
The tribalism, exactly. That's not a bad idea. If you don't mind setting it up for me, I'd really appreciate it, and we'll get back to it. No, I appreciate the idea a lot. I think it's a great idea because of tribalism. I think it would be fantastic if we were able to set up a store that did merchandise for other crypto projects, and we serve the community by providing them with good quality merchandise, and while also helping the EverGrow community. I think that's a fantastic idea, and I really appreciate the comment. So thank you. And looks like we've got the chairman kind of lurking in the background here. I'm going to invite you, Sam, if you're more than welcome to come on and say hi, or if you want to just listen, that's very cool too. I appreciate it. And give me 1 second here. I just invited him. I might take a second. Yeah.
I'll hit the mute button on my microphone in case I start leaking too many things.
Yeah, there you go.
It's got it covered.
There you go, exactly. So yeah, dominating the news related to EverGrow is LunaSky V2 NFT Marketplace, of course. That's what everybody's talking about, right? A few tweets from the LunaSky official Twitter page yesterday. Platform testing /QA complete. Bug testers plus NDAs onboarded. Preparations for final testing is underway. That's excellent news. Rocket, in my question that I was going to ask you earlier, because we were talking a little bit, what is the importance, in your opinion, because we talked a little bit about bringing people on that were not necessarily familiar with LunaSky. Why do the team feel that was important to do that?
Well, it really comes down to finding folks, at least a few folks, that wouldn't have the EverGrow bias. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, everyone on this call probably loves EverGrow, and anything that we make, right, there's going to be some just love for regardless.
Right.
And I want people that don't have that, right, so they can be more honest, not in the sense of being honest with us, but being honest with themselves, right? They wouldn't have that bias there to cloud anything. And, having a fresh set of eyes is just priceless.
The people that, if you could speak to this, the people that you the team brought in for the testing, the bug bash, do they have a background in NFT marketplaces at all, or are they very novice to the whole thing?
Yeah, so one of them is actually launching a project and potentially on LunaSky. Another is launching a small collection and wants to launch it on LunaSky. So there are folks that have what's the term? They have an interest in LunaSky, right? They want it to do well. They want it to be the best platform it can be, so they can launch on it. And then I have one gentleman who's just a genius in general, just to kind of help break things.
Right.
Because when you're doing a bug bash, the goal is to try and break something so we can see what broke it and try and fix it.
Excellent. I appreciate that. Sam, how you doing? Thanks for coming up today. Everybody, welcome Sam Kelly, the chairman of EverGrow.
Hey guys, how are you?
Very well, sir. How are you today?
Very good, thank you. I'm been out for a long walk this evening.
Nice.
It's nearly midnight for me, but I saw the space was live, so I wanted to hop in and say hi to everyone.
Appreciate
how
it
we're all
very
getting
much.
on.
What's new with you, Sam?
Well, we're just I'm literally just dropping a message to the management team to see if someone can join from the main account, just to give you a bit more of a boost in numbers.
I appreciate it very much.
Of course, I try to. Yeah, I think we should be conscious of that when you're on, to just get someone who's available. We need an extra phone to do it. That's the issue.
Yeah,
I can pop off and hop over the main.
Oh, if you're happy to, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Just to give us a boost. Oh, thanks, Rocket. Appreciate it.
Right.
Take him on for the team. Yeah, we're good. I mean, as you can tell, we're always very cautious. You can see from the tweets. I'm getting a little bit of noise, and I don't know whether it's from my end or from the space in general. A little bit of crackling or something. Is anyone else?
I hear it a little bit too.
Okay, no worries. It's probably just Spaces. Spaces has been insane today with the Russia stuff and Elon dropping in Spaces and everything. So Spaces has been tested today.
Right.
Anyway, so we're obviously deep in LunaSky now. I tweeted some stuff out about Atlas Wallet earlier on. So Atlas needs a little bit more time. Whereas, we don't look. I tweeted this earlier on. We always said we wanted to, acknowledging delays, we wanted to make sure everything was out in Q2 or at least something. I think you can tell that we're trying to do that, but we're also, once bitten, twice shy about promising that will happen. So, if we hit Q2 with the launch, then that'll be great. But I want to say that I said to the team today, that is not a line in the sand. If for any reason, and this is more for Cody and Rocket's ultimate decision, if for any reason, you need a couple more days or whatever it might be, it's, everyone's waited long enough. If it's for a couple more days, isn't going to make any difference. So that's, we have to have these conversations, because everyone can say, well, it's this line in the sand at the end of the quarter and all of this stuff. Let's rush to get it out, but we can't cut corners after all this time. We can't sort of take a risk or make another mistake. We can't afford to make another mistake, when it comes to a launch.
Right.
So we had that conversation as a team. I think you guys can tell that we're as close as we've been by the way everybody's talking. But if it doesn't make it this quarter, I can promise you, and even Cody was bold enough to say it's not going to be months. It's not even going to be a month. So for Cody to tweet that, he's the most cautious person in terms of giving deadlines. I'm a little bit more optimistic than Cody in general. So if Cody comes out and says that, I think you guys can be sure that something is very close, and we're very happy with it. In terms of Atlas, the reason that Atlas, the honest truth is, the reason that Atlas isn't live yet, and this affected LunaSky but not to the same degree, is because a number of partners have been affected by what happened with the SEC. Mm-hmm. So they've had to sort of, we had to come up with an alternative to cover the US. And we always had lined up, but now it's has to be there at launch, because a lot of these off-ramping partners, we were going to launch with more off-ramping partners than any token had ever launched with, or any wallet had ever launched with. And we still will, but a lot of those have paused US off-ramp and indeed on-ramp because of the SEC.
Right.
So, we thought, well, we've got LunaSky, we've got staking, we've got Lucro Games under development. So there's lots of things to keep everybody happy. And we're now pushing really hard with this fantastic partnership which we're so excited about, which is an amazing solution for US off-ramp, because the EU and other places aren't an issue for on-ramp and off-ramp particularly, but the US, as everybody knows, has been really hit by the SEC, and a lot of companies are just too afraid to offer services in the US. But yeah, so we've got a partnership. We're pushing through. We're pushing through the development. It'll be a very special thing for our testers have used this service, and it's great. It's so cheap, and the money's in your bank account within hours.
Excellent.
So it's worth it if it pushes Atlas Wallet back by a few weeks. The other challenges we had is so Wallet Connect, who were kind of fuzzy on V2. They postponed it and they moved it and this, that, and the other. Now they've got a hard deadline of June 28th, which is, less than a week. So everyone's scrambling now to get Wallet Connect 2 working when, we've had Wallet Connect 1 working, now Wallet Connect. And this isn't something we've just started scrambling the last few days, but this, it takes development to get these things to work. It's not just like a couple of days work. And then PancakeSwap and Uniswap also upgraded, and all the solutions for on-chain swap basically don't work properly right now for a lot of it's not so obvious, and we don't want to dig in too much as to why it doesn't work, because we built a custom solution that will make it, we think, cheaper than anywhere for people to use Atlas Wallet. But again, it's like, do we launch straight away, or do we launch a little bit later? Because it's basically done, but these are the things that we're fixing. Like, it's done, but the on-chain swap isn't giving the best solutions. Now, it's giving the same solutions as all the other DeFi wallets, but those solutions aren't so good because of this upgrade. And then everybody's using out-of-the-box routing, as Americans say, or routing, as I say, options that are actually very problematic, and people aren't recognizing those problems. So, they're paying a third-party company for routing to get around the upgrades of Uniswap and PancakeSwap. And we looked at those solutions and we thought, well, not only are they adding a layer of cost to the users, but they're also causing other problems that we're not going to go into, because if those projects haven't recognized those problems, we're not going to point them out for them. I know it sounds a bit ruthless, but we're here to give EverGrow an advantage, and we know once we're live, everybody will realize what we've done. But we want to have that head start, and that's the same with the US off-ramp partnership. We should be the first wallet, although we are aware now that they started to develop with one or two other wallets, but we're not too concerned about that. So there are justified reasons. You guys have seen Atlas Wallet. People, obviously, Steve, you're a tester, so I think you know more about this than other people. But obviously, I'm allowed to make a decision on what we can say, if that makes sense. So I can come on here and tell people this. I appreciate that you probably knew a lot of this already, but you're respecting the confidentiality of the project.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I
appreciate this stuff. This is obviously not for you, but sometimes we want to communicate things honestly, but I think sometimes we have to hold back on some stuff just for reasons that are commercial reasons. We can't just give away everything through tweeting and being, we are ultra transparent. I don't think there's another project out there that's transparent as we are, but you've got to hold some stuff, for launch.
Absolutely.
So, as you, Steve, obviously those things I've talked through, I'm wanting to be honest, you're a beta tester. Have you seen improvements over the last few weeks during your experience beta testing?
I'm honest. I'll be honest here. I haven't been able to get knee deep in it as much as other people have. So I tend to go in and, I'll just kind of play with, various swaps. I'll kind of try to keep an eye out for various things that are going on that are people like maybe Paul might prioritize certain things over another, just to test. But I'm not as much involved just because I'm so busy. As other people are, the other testers are. And so I would love to be more involved and really, really knee deep in it, but I just can't. But I do see some of the things that you were talking about. I was really quite shocked by the overcharging by, and here you are working on a solution for that. And it just seems to be that nobody's talking about it. And so I won't say much other than
I know. I mean,
we're in a good position.
The thing that surprises me is that other wallets have actually launched knowing about these problems, and they haven't. And they're kind of just like, well, we just hope nobody notices that they're paying so much more to trade because it's for the convenience. What we want Atlas to be is not only convenient, but also super competitive. You know, there's no point creating something that's convenient if it costs 10, 20% more than using an exchange or whatever the alternative is. So for us, we're going to be driving down prices as much as we can. We're negotiating on every deal, every partnership. And, you know, we want it to be so cheap. We want the off-ramp to be pennies, not crazy. You know, at the moment, off-ramping and all these, direct buys and all of these things, they are still too expensive across the board. You know, I think the only reason that we get away with it in DeFi is because people have such huge upside ambitions, which, you know, we hope that EverGrow has as well.
Absolutely.
So they're not worried about paying like 6 or 7% in fees for something. But for the industry that I come from, it's crazy. And if we want to be respected, you know, globally and in the real world of such, we've got to be pushing as an industry to move past these ridiculous fees. Even if there is 100 times upside in a project, it doesn't mean it's still acceptable for someone to have to pay 7% in fees. That means if they do make a crazy return, they make millions of dollars. You think how many less tokens they have as a result of paying all those fees? You know,
absolutely,
it becomes real money then. You know,
yeah, it's even when I started.
It's a question, Sam and Steve, like we get usually is like, what makes Atlas different than other wallets? Well, all these details and all these taxes that we're trying, you know, to avoid, get good deals and everything. All this makes us different. So, you know, we're pushing our product to a next level, like even before it launches. Everything is
very
important.
Good point. It's a really good point because we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. You know, we want people to not be intimidated by dozens of new functions that are really just, you know, decoration. You know, we know what people really want to be able to do is buy, sell, and transfer their crypto at the lowest price possible with a really instinctive and easy to use user experience. And that's what we're trying to do. You know, in my experience, the simplest products tend to be the most successful. You know, you look at iPhone. All iPhone have done over the years is just remove things. You know, they've removed buttons, they've removed this, they've removed that. You know, look at Tesla. If you ever sat in a Tesla before, there's nothing there. It's just a screen, you know, and they keep removing stuff. They're removing stalks. They're removing, you know, every year that goes by, there's less stuff in a Tesla. And, you know, for me, technology should be about simplifying your life, making it less complicated. I think there's an immaturity when you think the way to impress people is to just bulldoze them with features that like 99% of them won't get used, or they might get used once, you know.
100%. You know, and one thing that I reached out to Paul this morning because I wanted to tell you guys this, and he, you know, before I ever say anything, I was clear at first because, you know, I don't want to get in trouble. But so you guys might not be aware, but in Discord, there's a dedicated chat where the beta testers are actually working with a dev. And as the issues come up, they're actually able to discuss this directly with a dev. I mean, this is fantastic that you have this kind of partnership.
Yeah, our devs, obviously we have different devs. We're lucky to have two very dedicated teams. You know, our devs building Atlas are a huge company, global company. And, you know, Paul and I are literally in touch with them 24/7. We'll send them a message on a Saturday night and we'll get a reply. You know, they have hundreds of employees, they have offices all over the world, and I'm in personal contact with the director, you know, and he's like, oh, I'll come out and have a meeting with you. You know, these guys like value our partnership. They can see what EverGrow has potential to be. They want to be close to us. So although, you know, we've definitely gone over the original deadline, we're okay with that because we've seen that they care as well. And I think sometimes, development missing deadlines has been an issue for us from the beginning. But I think we actually found with the two dev companies that we're working with, we found dev companies that really care. So if they miss a deadline, we sit down, we discuss it. We have written contracts that penalize the devs for missing deadlines. But I'll be honest with you, we don't like to take advantage of those clauses if we've built a good relationship, because relationships are so important for long-term business success. And we've had these discussions with them. We've said to them, look, these penalties are in there, but listen, if you guys deliver, we don't want to be too soft, if that makes sense. But we say, like, if we see you make the effort and deliver a good product, we'll forget those penalties for there. And this is about teamwork. It's not about punishing people that you've worked with for 6 months or more. So I think we're happy that we've made these relationships. We've had stressful times. We've had tense meetings. There's been plenty of ups and downs. But I think if after 6 or 7 months on a project with a dev team, you're still all friends and you still have faith in them, then I think that's actually a really strong thing for the future. And I think that's the experience that we've had. And like you said, Steve, one of our devs, who's a very senior dev at that company, offered to join a Discord with a community of testers. Who would want to put themselves into that situation? Let's be honest. Like, there's
exactly
a guy who's probably already working like 60 hours a week. Now is sat with 12 EverGrow maxis. Probably sending him 50 messages a day. I know it's not quite like that in the Discord. You guys are all very sensible, but the fact that he offered to be in there and he's communicating with you directly, I think it shows that we've got a good team. We've got a good team there, so that's a nice thing to see.
Absolutely. And there's certain sides of Discords, right, where it's kind of a little bit more rough around the edges, and people come in and they kind of usually come in with, like, sometimes with they're a bull in the china shop, but in that realm, in that channel, you guys are really fortunate that hardworking, just people who just the work ethic of people testing and reporting and keeping an active log of things that they see are not necessarily working as they necessarily thought they should, or maybe they're offering suggestions here and there. It's really amazing just to watch it. I wish I could be more involved on a daily basis, but it's really amazing. You guys should be really proud.
I mean, we are, look, as a whole, the entire EverGrow family have been like forged in fire. What more could the project have gone through? And here we all are, we hope on the brink of something great. Everybody who's been part of this journey has been put through the most ridiculous stress, whether you're like a helper in Telegram, or you're in the management team, or you're an investor who's seeing the value of your tokens fall. And anyone who's still here now, this is remarkable. And I think you can see by the fact that the team have almost we've all been here since week one, maybe not day one. But the team are the same. The team are with every single, diamond hand holder. None of us have taken money out of the project. The staff are on low wages and they're just working. It's like nobody's run off with a yacht or a supercar and off into the sunset with this project. I want the staff to all be very successful, and I'm sure all the holders do. But I think you all know by now the only way that's going to happen is all for the holders to experience the same. I want the same for myself. I want to get a return from this project, but not until I've seen the holders do that. And I think if you run a business like that, or if you're a member of the management or the other staff, and you're aligned with the holders, then that's how it should be. That's how you get success long term. So, and I see that with some crypto projects, but I don't see it, as the trend. Unfortunately, with crypto, you see teams miraculously get rich within 3 to 6 months of launching their projects, and you kind of like, oh, that's interesting, and then half of them are gone, and then the project kind of drifts away into nothing. But what I can promise you with EverGrow is that everybody involved, you know, from the management down through the community staff, has been here for literally 18 months, and no one's going away until we have success, and hopefully a long time after that as well.
Absolutely. You know, Sam, I've always thought to ask you this, but do you know, I mean, obviously you've done your homework on other projects, but is any other project kind of doing something similar to what we're doing, where we're really building around this ecosystem to do two things: fund the project, fund the salaries, and the obviously provide marketing and all that stuff, but really to the central theme of it is to buy back and burn strategically of EverGrow in order to deliver shareholder value. Do you know of anybody who's doing that on this level?
No, I'm not. The thing is, I don't keep too close an eye on other projects, if I'm being honest. So maybe other people are aware of stuff that I'm not. I struggle to see too many projects where every single holder knows the direct link between the success of the utilities and the revenue and the token value itself. You know, every EverGrow holder knows that if the project can become profitable, then they know like that the revenue will be returned to them as holders. Now, I see projects launching stuff, and I see lots of hype about those launches, and I see lots of people buying in, but I don't ever see enough, or I don't really get enough understanding of if a project were to make $1 million from their XYZ utility, you know, what part of that $1 million and how ends up in the hands of the holders. That's something that I don't feel I see enough. So because crypto generally lacks transparency, I think, you know, when I say that, I mean, if you invest in the stock market, you know that whether that company pays dividends, you know how much revenue that company has made, how much profit they've made, what they're doing with that profit. Now, sure, a lot of companies actually just hold that profit in. They don't necessarily ever pay a dividend. Most technology stocks don't really bother with dividends. They just grow. So it's all speculative forever. You know, shareholders see the revenue and the growth, but because nothing's ever returned, it's just, you know, one share being passed to another, people hold while the company grows. But they're not, you know, a lot of stocks these days don't pay dividends. So, you know, you don't get a direct return. You just get to participate in the growth. So for me, you know, I think projects probably are doing it, and I'm just not so aware. I think there's some good projects out there. I mean, I think people saw me tweet about another project like today.
We were talking about that
the reason I tweeted about I'll say Shido. I don't normally talk about other projects ever. I was on an AMA with those guys. Like, I can't remember who was hosting it. It might have been Mario, actually. I can't remember. It was a long time ago, and I remember
it was Travlat.
I'll say again.
Travlat months ago.
Oh, yeah. Of course it was. Yeah, long time ago. So I remember just being impressed by them and I can't remember the details of why, because I haven't sort of kept an eye on them. And obviously we've seen that they've released stuff. And then I saw that, you know, they had a hack, which is sad because, you know, you see some projects suffer a security hack and, you know, they've just done endless contract upgrades, whatever, but they've never delivered anything to their community. Whereas, like, I saw a project who, you know, from a distance, I noticed they were getting stuff out there, they were active, and I thought, you know, this seems to be a good example of a good project. And I thought it was sad that they got hacked, you know. But so what happened with them is you know, effectively did they do a bridge or something? I don't know. I mean, all the, you know, any kind of contract upgrade is so risky. It sends like terror through projects. And we were talking, the management team were talking earlier on, and like saying, look, in this we absolutely need to do something. Like, we won't do it because there's just so much risk involved. And, you know, before we bring out staking, for example, we're going to have it triple audited, and we're going to have like a bug bounty on it and all of this stuff, because, you know, you just can't take risks. And I think projects are under so much pressure to get stuff out that, you know, maybe like they'll just take one risk, you know, and it can have a real bad effect. But, you know, I think there is a really smart team, and they trading continued. So what happened was, all these investors who'd probably been holding for a year or whatever, I don't know how long they've been around that project. They saw their value drop to 97%, and then suddenly all these opportunists are buying in. And I thought, man, that's so unfair. Those long-term holders are getting, diluted or shaken out, whatever it might be. All these people are buying in at like this discount. And my point is that the people who had held for like 18 months or however long that project's been around, they're the ones who held. They're the ones who supported the project to build the ecosystem and create all the value that had built up. And then, because I think they probably will recover the price. I don't see why they wouldn't, because it was only a couple of $100,000 in the LP that was taken. It's not enough to take down a project that's high quality like those guys. And I just thought, it sucks that these opportunities, who knows, even the hacker might have been buying. You don't know. The hacker might have hacked it, effectively, stole the liquidity, and then they might have even used that to be buying a whole load of the stock back. So you just don't know. So, I mean, I think and then they announced that they would basically stop trading, pull the LP, and then launch a contract at the market cap before the hack and restore everybody's values, which I think is, that's what you do, But then obviously anyone who took advantage is complaining, saying it's not fair. Well, for me, I don't think it's fair, that someone can, DeFi unfortunately has these vulnerabilities. Someone can basically commit a criminal offense, which is stealing crypto from a project's liquidity pool, and then people can advantage from it, and long-term holders can be disadvantaged. And I think it was exactly the right thing to do, to say, no, no one takes advantage of a situation that was created by a criminal.
Right.
And if anybody did that to EverGrow, we would do exactly the same thing. We would freeze and restore, and everybody would be whole again. And if anyone tried to take advantage of a criminal offense, we wouldn't allow them to. And I've said that now that I've tweeted that, I would hope, and we've gone a long time without any security vulnerabilities. I don't expect us to ever have one. But, hopefully I've made it clear now that if anyone did ever do anything like that to EverGrow, not only would we restore the price, but we'd make sure that nobody took advantage of it. I think it's, bottom feeding to go in there and take advantage of a project whose long-term holders have just lost 97% and probably their hopes. Can you imagine how they all felt waking up, having held for a year or something? It's just not fair. So, and I got some criticism for saying that, but only probably from the people who are bottom feeding, and trying to take advantage. So anyway, so yeah, I mean, I kind of went off subject there, but I wondered if you were referring to that project slightly. I very rarely talk about, I rarely talk about other projects, but there are good projects out there, and it's, those guys probably were just one too many steps, they probably just rushed one thing through. Like, they've done so well, like getting stuff out, and we know how hard that is. And then they maybe just did one thing wrong. And I don't think I think a project should be able to make a mistake. And for their, they'll learn from it, and there'll be a better project from it. So I wouldn't say that should devalue that project at all, like in the perception of the industry, if they've done so well for so long and then they make one mistake. Because EverGrow, we made plenty of mistakes, and all I can tell you is every time we make mistakes, we are a better project for it. And if those guys made a mistake, it might have been quite a devastating one, but I think they probably already resolved it. Is it all fixed now?
I think they said they took the site down, and then I think they have a fix in place, and they're just kind of soldiering on. They're just going to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell if a project's being killed or if it's just a setback. And I think with this example, it wasn't a lot of money, in relative terms to crypto. It was a couple of $100,000.
$238 or something like that. Yeah, $238,000.
Yeah. So a project with their quality, I don't see why that should. It's very alarming, obviously, when holders see that happening. But it shouldn't be a problem for them. But like I said, there are projects out there that are doing good stuff. I don't know how. And I'm not saying this in any negative way. I just don't know how to research. I just haven't had time to research other projects. But I would imagine a good project like those guys have shown their holders how they return the value, and maybe it's similar to ours. But yeah, I think for me that's the essential thing. I think holders need to have no doubts about what they're investing in. Why? when you invest in a meme coin, it's like, okay, it's just pure gambling, and that's okay because that's what and why. It's like I'm investing in this to either lose all my money or make a 10x or 50x or whatever. When people invest in EverGrow, hopefully they know that they're investing in a company that's stuck around through the toughest market in crypto history, that are still here, still strong, still fighting, still building, and intend to be here in 10 years and be one of the biggest projects in the world. That's why you invest in EverGrow, for a long-term opportunity and a solid project,
Absolutely.
So,
and it should be noted that there are people that this is all they exist for, is to find vulnerabilities in contracts and exploits. That's all they do. I mean, literally, they're combing and they're looking through, and if they can find an opening, they will. And so that's why, if it does take a little bit longer to get audited and get checked out, then do your due diligence, because it can be devastating.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, it could be a tactic to just sort of buy these rug pulls, but I don't think, I'm not calling it a rug pull in that way. I think you know that. I don't think this is one that the team did, but somebody pulled the liquidity through this hack, and it's not the first time that there was another project. I can't remember. Maybe it was a year ago that had a flash loan attack like that. I think it was quite a high profile. Okay, yeah. So this.
See, I know everything.
You do, man. It's impressive. I know very little because I'm just head down all the time, and I just hear things. I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar, and then sort of back to the grind. That's cool, man. I'm glad you picked that one up. So, do you know how similar it was? Was it exactly the same thing, or?
I'm not sure. Like, I don't remember Gala if it was an exploit or where it happened, but yeah, more or less is the same situation. And
yeah.
For you to know, like, because you see, the moment the flash loan happens, obviously the price drops like significantly, and then you have volume in. There are bots designed to catch those drops, so that's why you see volume coming in, because there are like people lurking to find these kind of flash loans on popular projects, and they know that people and holders and everyone will go back, and maybe the team will go buy back and stuff. So they get those alerts and they try, to take advantage of that. That's why you see volume coming in after flash loan.
Which is exactly why, what Shido did today was the right thing, because it sends out a message: don't even bother, because you're not going to benefit from it, because we have the control in emergencies. I think it's the only time a project should have any kind of control, in an emergency like that. So those people, who bought at that low price, I think they'll probably get to keep their tokens, but at the higher price, maybe at the original price before so then there'll probably be a bit of a sell-off. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's already been done. And they'll be like, oh, we tried, we failed, kind of thing. It's not a perfect fix, because I'm sure, some people bought at the very bottom when it was down 97%, and I think it recovered like 50%. So those people could have had a serious like 10x, and they probably got out and got their money out, which is a shame. So I think maybe the only thing that should have happened is they should have probably acted instantly. So maybe this could be something that DeFi can take note of, it can establish that if this thing happens, you don't hesitate. You effectively snap. You don't need a snapshot. You can see what everybody was holding in token value, and basically the project then should pull the liquidity, relaunch a new contract, and disallow any trading. Because the other thing is, I'm assuming there wasn't too many sells at the bottom. I can't imagine many people going, oh, it's dropped 97%, I'm going to sell now. I can't imagine people doing that. So it's, it means it's just going to be buys at that level. But yeah, I mean, we can probably move past this subject, but
sure.
I think it sends out a message.
There was I remember one guy in Telegram asking some questions about our contract. What this guy actually did, he deployed a similar contract to ours, like the same. And he put some liquidity, and then he was trying to get it out, and he couldn't. And he was like I cannot even, let's say, rack in, my liquidity, I cannot remove it from this contract? Like, what is going on? And I told him, I don't know. You need Praveen here. He did it. So I don't know. It's insane. Yeah.
Couldn't even rug his own project, huh?
Rugless contracts.
Oh man,
it's quite funny. That's happens when you're trying to steal our contract. I think loads of projects were set up using our contract, to be honest, but never mind.
I was going to go in to ask you about staking, but first, EverGrow Love, did you have a question for Sam? Or?
Hey, actually, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. And I actually had two questions. But before I say anything, I want to say thank you to everybody for allowing me to stalk you and stalking me back. I love it.
Thank you for being here.
But my first question, and I know Rocket's hiding, but my first question is for him. I had started to upload a new collection on LunaSky, and basically, I'm supposed to wait. Is there a good reason for us to wait? Have we already started migrating artwork over to the new version, or is it just better to wait?
It is better to wait.
Okay, I will roll with that because you said so, and Rocket is power, right? My second one was for Sam himself because he had made a statement about maybe some leaks on something and that Rocket and Cody might get mad. I had made the comment that I don't want Sam to make any leaks like that. I want Sam to make leaks on partnerships and hidden gems. I was just curious as if you had anything for us. That's all.
Well, to be honest, I was digging into LunaSky and I was like, I really want to leak this stuff. It was probably late at night and I was feeling mischievous. I thought I better not, because I think I leaked something before and I got a bit of a telling off from Cody and Rocket. So they're in charge of LunaSky, so I'm not going to tread on their toes. But I was quite excited about some things. I thought I'd love to leak this, but I'm going to leave those guys. So you make sure. I think you're all following them already, but obviously, if you're not following them, you really should be. Everyone who's invested in EverGrow should be following those guys.
Thanks for the question, man. I appreciate it. So regarding staking, so last week's space we covered basically a tweet that said EverGrow staking build is coming along beautifully. They'll be on the page 1 of the website. Very simple and intuitive. Number 1, contract has been in testing. Number 2, design complete and being built. And number 3, next 2 independent audits. And that somebody on Discord, Jordan Dot, had asked about the Certic audit and where, basically where he remarked that could take like ages. Did you maybe want to comment on that? Like, auditing a contract for staking is a little different than auditing an entire project.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a good relationship with Certic. I don't think. I mean, I know that they'd already the LunaSky contract was the fork of the EverGrow contract, but I mean, they did that for us in about 3 days. So we have people on the inside. We've done AMAs with Certic, etc., etc. We're going to get the devs are getting an audit done. We're going to get an audit done, at least 1, maybe 2. We cannot take any chances with a staking contract. For us, that would, it's just not worth risking it. And then we're going to do, some kind of bug bounty thing on it as well. Take it to an organization that will get a load of devs to just thrash the hell out of it for a few days and see if they can find anything. That's it. It's the most important thing in the world that staking contract is secure. More so, I think, than anything so far. We know the EverGrow contract and the Lucro contract is secure. This is the sort of thing that you can't afford to get wrong. So yeah. But listen, I mean, the timing of staking, we know we've got those tokens set aside. There may be something else interesting that we're going to discuss with the community soon. Not going to mention too much about it, but it could increase even more the rewards that we've got for staking. So I know everyone's excited about staking because it's going to be because you've seen how much volume's low and things like that. So we appreciate volume's low. So BUSD rewards are low, and this will be a great opportunity for people to get some additional rewards.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you've allocated 12 trillion to staking
so far. Yeah, and again, there may be something that we can do to get more tokens for staking. And there are, as we've hinted before, the staking pool. There are lots of things that we can do in the future as we build out the ecosystem. As I said to you on the space, Steve, I think it was, I think you asked me like what proportion of the ecosystem does the roadmap currently represent, and I said it was like 30%.
Exactly.
We know exactly what we want EverGrow to be, and having a marketplace and a wallet is just the start of that thing, of that vision. And the thing that we will do is have independent teams running those utilities, building them, generating communities around them. And then once those are established and growing and solid, then we can continue with the expansion. We're not going to stop. When you say you want to be a top 10 token, you don't just build 2 utilities and put your feet up. It's not how it works. It's about building an ecosystem that can dominate, DeFi. So yeah, there's lots of things. And with staking, I mean, it's kind of, it's very close to being finished already, but we want to time the launch of staking around certain events. So, it may be ready, but we don't make staking go live straight away. We have a kind of a plan of action, and it will depend on timing of other things. So, yeah, I mean, we're sort of, we've got Lucro Gaming as well, which we're not really rushing with it because it's quite a relatively straightforward build. So we want to try to get that out, within this order of events that we've shown you guys. But the thing about staking is if we get the timing right with other things, it can be very, very useful for the price. And everybody knows that if we were to achieve, a breakout with the price, that in itself creates a lot of interest. And if we have a lot of people staked and they're earning great rewards, they're not going to have any motivation to unstake and sell, because the perfect trifecta would be, we have lots of people staked with the price going up. And I'm not giving financial advice. I've got to be careful what I say. Just saying this would be the perfect scenario. But then it becomes parabolic because everybody's staked. So all we have is people buying, and then they see, wow, the staking pools are so generous. We're going to buy and then go stake. And that's, but obviously for that to all happen, we have to deliver the goods. So if we coordinate all this, we have amazing utilities going live, a buzz, excitement about those around the timing of these other things happening, then we can have something pretty exciting. So there is a real strategy behind all this stuff, and one thing depends on the other. That's why the staking contract is probably almost ready. The UI is very clean, very nice. It will sit on the website. If we wanted to, we could probably launch staking in 2 weeks, but we won't. And just to say that clearly, we won't, because it's deliberately designed to fall in to the most optimal timeline to help the price, and to make sure that investors get the very best out of everything, or holders, I shouldn't say investors.
I appreciate you saying that. Paul just joined in. Thanks very much for joining. Paul, Operations Manager for EverGrow. Hope you don't mind, Sam, but I accidentally promoted him to General Manager last space.
Yeah, that's fine. He can be CEO. I'll be the janitor.
How you doing,
someone's
Paul?
got to keep Sam in line here.
Thanks, boss.
How are you, Paul?
I'm all right. Sorry I'm late, guys. I was actually planning something tonight and it fell through, so I just thought I'd join you.
Yeah,
look at us. Where is like backup date? He got stood up and then he decides to come and join the EverGrow family.
Actually, we talked about this, and we have a little group chat. A lot of the people in here are in. I was actually supposed to go see Ed Sheeran tonight, and it fell through. So here I am.
What fell through? I didn't know you were a fan of Ed Sheeran, but he's a cool guy. Okay, well, I'm sorry you're missing Ed Sheeran. I think we would have allowed you to go watch Ed Sheeran instead of.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Bob.
Was it Tiffany Empathyson that didn't come through for you, or what?
Oh, Tiffany. Oh, my high school crush. Say by the when I put that out there, I wasn't sure if a lot of people would have got it because you got to be at least 35, 40 years old to remember Say by the Bell.
I'm old enough, but I'm not American enough, so Paul had to explain it to me on the phone.
Yeah, he actually thought it was my date or something like that, and I was like, I wish. Oh man.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah. So, do you want to talk about Atlas, Paul, or did you something that's on your mind? I did talk about what I asked your permission to talk about within the actual Discord channel, where we have a dev working with the beta testing team, and this was really great to see. Really, like, to be connected that way, that there could be this open discussion, obviously, of things that may come up. And I don't think we really talked about it, but we're on coming up on build 13 now, so a lot of progress has been made.
Yeah, I think, as we go along, you get deeper and deeper into it. Like, it's, there's steps to this, and it was a step to bring the dev in now to where, there's not 100 problems anymore, where there's, only, maybe a few. And that's where we can have, 15 beta testers in there and one of the devs in there to give feedback. If this was 2 months ago, we had the dev in there, or a month ago when we started this, he'd be hitting it at all sides, and that's not really right. So there's steps to this, and as people see with LunaSky, you got to go through each step, each phase, and we get better and better as we go. If this were a regular wallet, it would already be released right now, but we're trying to make it very feature rich, and we can't just release it and have the swaps ready, because what if the swaps are give the wrong price out or something like that? Then the investors lose money. So we're making sure everything is right, all the partners are lined up, and then we can go with it. So it's come along very good, and you can speak to that also.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Out of curiosity, Sam, with Lucro being, with Brewlabs being the partner currently for Lucro, wouldn't it have just been easier to just go with them and, at the sake of risk?
No. Although Brewlabs are very good, the features on our staking contract are very unique and pretty advanced. So, we needed a custom job for this, and it made sense. Also, obviously, Brewlabs have a small fee as well. So,
that's right.
We saved that fee. But it was more to do with, we needed to build something custom. And also, ultimately, we'll integrate the staking into the wallet. I think Paul and I probably, there's so many things that we've had to rush through to wallet. So, Paul, I did explain in the spaces, about the Wallet Connect 1 to 2 upgrade, the Uniswap 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and Pancake. So I did explain about all these things that have sort of been swept from under us in the last couple of months and things like this. So, we've been busy with our devs overcoming and finding solutions for a whole load of unexpected things. So I think once Wallet is live, Atlas Wallet, I'm allowed to say it, I'm still doing it. Once Atlas Wallet is live, I think we'll also be building our staking direct into the wallet, or at least within the browser, because as you know, Atlas Wallet is independently branded. So we've got to be careful not, we don't want it to be too obviously EverGrow, but we obviously want it to be something that's easy to do with Atlas Wallet as well. So we'll take a look at that. But yeah, I don't believe there's been a staking contract that's quite like this one, that has the options that we have. So that's why we can use a third party for it.
I appreciate
it.
And
like Sam said, excuse me, there's stuff that's come up over the last 4 or 5 months, 3 or 4 months, that we didn't even know we were going to do. Like, if we didn't even plan to do staking until the opportunity presented itself with the whale and buying back all that EverGrow, and that's what even started the conversation with the staking. And then we took it one step further with these integrations we're making into the staking contract, more features, just like while we can't go with Brewlabs. And then even with the wallet, having staking in there. But, like I said, if we keep adding more and more things to the wallet, it's just going to keep, pressing back the launch date. So we got the features that we want for launch. And then after that, we can, add staking, maybe, onto the EverGrow page where you can press stake, just other wallets. But, if we keep adding, we're going to add months and months to the build, which we don't want to do when that can wait until maybe the first or second upgrade.
Yeah, we had to put a line in the sand, like, because as the market was evolving and these things happen with the SEC and other things like this, and all these upgrades with partners, etc. The scope was constantly changing. So and it was always improving. Challenges always end up in a better product. Like, that's one thing that I tell you for 100% sure. If a team have to overcome an issue, they'll overcome it with a better solution than the solution they had before. So yeah, we literally had a line in the sand meeting with our devs a week or two ago, and we said, we promise you that this is it. If this, and this are all in the wallet, we will go live. Because, as I said, the wallet is basically a finished wallet with a handful of bugs left. I mean, Paul and the team have worked from 1,000 bugs down to about 12 bugs. But now bugs aren't the problem. The issue is really just a bit of a delay to get Wallet Connect 2 integrated. It's underway because that's going live in a week. And then obviously, as I said before, just to verify people might join later, just overcoming these Uniswap and PancakeSwap upgrades and the routing, which I won't go too technical on, but if you don't have the right routing solution, users end up getting a lot less tokens than they should. So we thought that was worth a little bit of extra effort. And then most importantly for us, and this is something that Paul has been pushing for a long, long time, it's been a bit of a technical issue because we'll be the first wallet possibly. Originally, we were definitely going to be the first. I'm not going to say I think we probably still will be. But we expect to be the first wallet to have this US off-ramp solution, which is such a great solution. It's better than any off-ramp that any of the existing partners offer in the US. So it would be really great. And we've also, obviously, we've already got other countries in the EU, etc., covered. So, but we've got a line in the sand. All the final solutions are being fixed. As you know, LunaSky is super close. So, it's going to be an exciting, couple of weeks ahead, and then a couple of months as everything that we mentioned goes live over the next couple of months. Everything. So there's going to be a whole flurry of activity. It's all building up like a volcano, this project, and everything's ready to all go at once.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll have a couple of community questions here. Pepe LaRue said she was actually curious about what a flash loan is. I had to look it up. I think it's like when you borrow against a crypto. I can't really explain it all that well. Maybe somebody else can answer that.
It's something with the bridge. So when you bridge and you do a flash loan and you end up, getting X amount of tokens and the contract doesn't realize it, something like that, and you're able to sell it on one side and then it kind of just wipes out the LP. But you basically unlimited amount of tokens, or loan, whatever you get with it. But it's all these hacks usually happen with a bridge. And I don't know if Sam already went over this. This is another instance of where, we don't want to upgrade to a V2 contract unless we have to, unless it's absolutely necessary. We don't want to change anything in that with the contract or anything like that because of problems like this that people have. The less you do to your contract, the better off you are. We've had no problems at all for 2.5 years, and it's locked solid. So, why upgrade just for the hell of it? So only if we absolutely have to will we do that, just for those reasons.
I appreciate it. The other question from Pepe LaRue was, any updates with the Abstract Reality partnership and Lucro with their VR games? I've been keeping an eye on them, and I know they're working towards this kind of a camp where it's like a programming camp or something like that. But go ahead, Moon, if you want to jump in.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Good. How you doing? Thank you for being here.
Hey, me.
I'm all right. I'm doing good. I did have a question. This is more of a curiosity than anything else. But as far as on-ramp / off-ramp solutions, with the current situation in the United States, how much harder is it in reality to find on-ramp, off-ramp solutions in the US versus the EU?
The EU is a cinch. Everybody can do the EU. I could probably get us a license in the EU and we could do it ourselves. I don't want to do that because I know how much work it involves because I've done it before in terms of getting financial licenses. But yeah, the EU, there's loads of options for the EU. There's crypto friendly jurisdictions in the EU that offer financial services licenses effectively, and it gives you access to 27 countries. So that's why you can basically open in one country in the EU, and then you have 27 countries you're covering the entire region, which is amazing. Whereas in the US, it couldn't be more different. It's like the US is technically one country, but you would have to have permission in every single state individually, and you'd have to go and seek that permission. It's strange how the EU is 27 countries and you get instant permission across the entire region, whereas in the US you have to ask permission effectively in individual states. And then the SEC scares the hell out of everybody, and they go, "Oh, we're just not risking it. We're just going to disable the US." So this is what we've experienced. But as I said, our secret partnership, which isn't on the Atlas website, is going to provide us, with a great off-ramp solution for the US. The other question was about the abstract.
Thank you.
I didn't want to dismiss that.
Yeah, thank you.
Look, I'll be honest. Those guys are focused on what they're doing, and we're focused on what we're doing at the moment. There will come a time where the integration can just happen, but we wanted to get Atlas Wallet launched first and LunaSky launched first, because obviously we're doing upgraded versions, and as you know, there's going to be like LunaSky Meta, and Atlas Wallet will be the wallet of choice, etc., etc. So we wanted to get these builds done and live, and as you know, these builds have taken longer than we'd originally hoped. So that's why everything's quite quiet with those guys, with the abstract, with Objective Reality, because they're focusing on their build, we're focusing on ours. And once we've got the stuff launched that they basically needed, because they needed these utilities before the architecture was finished, then we can get back to focusing on getting that live in the metaverse, which is really cool. Obviously, we're definitely still doing that. So we're not talking about it much because we're focusing on our own individual stuff. Well, they've got some hurdles to get over themselves, but you can see with them, they're moving in some very exciting places, and they're building, they're working really hard. We're doing the same, and when the time is right, when Atlas is ready, because what we obviously wanted was Atlas to be like the default wallet for when they go, Web3 or whatever we're going to call it. We wanted Atlas to be the default wallet. We wanted LunaSky to be the metaverse NFT marketplace. But until we have our utilities live, we can't really, realistically, it makes it a lot harder for us to integrate if they're kind of in development. So it's better for us to get live and build up those utilities. So yeah, it's exciting, still in the pipeline, but we've got these priorities first. And as you know, now we have kind of five things really coming up over the next couple of months, which will all be pretty exciting.
I appreciate it. That was a really good question. Go ahead, Paul.
Steve, someone wanted to say about the on-ramp and off-ramp, and we'll probably need a lot of people's help in here. So I get these questions all the time. I've gotten like 2 today. I've gotten them, all this week. So especially with the U.S., but also around the world, when these partners say, we're available, all in Europe and this many countries, and they even list all the countries. They even list the U.S. Where you could like buy crypto, you could buy some of these, and then you go in there like Simplex. They say, U.S. can buy, except a lot of people they use Simplex, put their card in, and it gets declined. And they're in the U.S., but it says it's available in the U.S. Well, that's because it may be a banking issue. And a lot of people are coming to me saying, is Atlas Wallet going to, make sure those payments go through? We can't help, if third-party partners, if transactions go through or not in individual states or countries, even if they're allowed. A lot of times it's individual bank institutions. So what we're doing is we're putting as many options on there as possible for people. So in case it doesn't work with one, in your bank, it can work with another. So right now I think we have 4 options for on ramp and then off ramp too. But and then the one US off ramp is the secret one we're talking about. But then once we go, we're going to add more. But with the other ones like MoonPay, for say, you need to launch and you need to have volume first before you can approach them. And then other ones we can always add. So we want to add as many options in there so people, in case they get declined by one, they can go ahead and use the other. Because I've been through the same process with other wallets in there, and you have to call your bank, do this, and move on to the next one. So we want to give as many options as possible. We can't make a transaction go through just because it's in Atlas Wallet. Once you use a third party, that's what it is. So I just want to make that clear to everyone that's listening right now.
I appreciate it. Thank you. EverGrow or Bust asked a question. Any thoughts on a value of developing an Atlas cold wallet? Just curious. My thought is it might bring a little revenue and would add to the brand name. People will think Atlas and security in synonymous terms. That's an interesting proposition.
Yeah, I think to be honest, the most scalable stuff is non-physical. So that needs to be our focus for now. I think if you become I always use Tesla as an example. I apologize for that. Obviously they produce physical stuff, but when they're huge and they got those volumes, they'll release something that's like the icing on the cake, like a drink or something that's $250 a bottle, and they'll sell 1 million of them. I think we need to be at the stage where we focus initially on non-physical stuff where your margins are much higher. The route to market is much easier. There's less potential issues with like logistics, if that makes sense. So we're not contrary to any ideas, but yeah, I think it's probably one that maybe we'd look at in a year or two.
I'm kind of confused here. Does he mean a physical wallet? Is that what he meant?
Yeah, like one of them you put in your pocket, the cold wallets that you put you can have offline. Yeah. So, I just want you guys to know we talk about this stuff all the time. Sam and I, we talk for hours on the phone about, the future and a lot of what ifs we don't talk about in the public. The whole team does, Cody, Rocket, we all do. What if, LunaSky is this big? What can we do with it? Where can we go with it? What if Atlas, while it gets this big, then where can we go with it? What can we expand? What can we do with it? We talk about this stuff all the time. Just because we don't talk about it in public, we don't want to. Then people saying, "Hey, when are you doing this? When are you doing that?" But we have these discussions all the time, and it's very exciting. But we just have to launch and do the best we can. And we know we're going to do good with it. It's just how fast, how good. When's the market going to come back? A lot of questions to be answered once it launches. We're up for the challenge. The marketing, we got a great marketing strategy, but a lot of it's going to depend on the market out there, timing, all this kind of stuff, the community's help. But we're really happy where we're going with it and where we're starting out.
Yeah, I got a little sneak peek into the marketing plan and for Atlas, and it just, once I heard the, kind of part of the plan, I was really, really impressed. I think it's going to be excellent. You guys should be really, really impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, the interesting thing is both LunaSky and Atlas have this unique advantage that we've discussed in the past about branding that allow for the marketing to be different to any other project that's launched a product that they've named after themselves. And this is our advantage. Like, it's a huge advantage. And it's why, it's why Trust Wallet are successful, because it's not a tribal product. Like, nobody associates Trust Wallet with an individual crypto, so everybody uses it. Same with MetaMask, things like this. Although obviously Trust Wallet is owned by Binance, and yet people don't think about that when they're using it. So I think that the key, in fact, the marketing plans, although there's differences between the two, the ethos between the ethos of the LunaSky and the Atlas Wallet marketing plans is basically the same. And we believe it's a killer marketing plan.
Thank you for that, Sam. I appreciate it. And speaking of the question from EverGrow or Bust, I wanted to just give a little ode to that community member. EverGrow Bust tweeted that the EverGrow Man Burger is officially available at Brooks Burger in both Vanderbilt and downtown Naples, Florida. In a tweet, EverGrow Bust said the burger is a homage to our incredible management team and EGC fam, who have stuck through the rough 2 years and are ready to come back and reestablish their dominance. The burger is a deliciously crafted burger with smoked bacon, Derby cheese on a purple Peruvian potato bun. The burger will be served with a link to the EverGrow website and will eventually be on the EverGrow website. So I just...
This is amazing. I think we should, at some point, we were talking to the team the other day, we got to go visit those as a team,
100%.
like to show support. I mean, we haven't done any of that stuff yet. I've said to the guys why we're not having a jolly, which is what we say in the UK for like a jolly holiday, until we've delivered something concrete. We're not going to spend the marketing budget on like a trip to Vegas or something like that. But I think at some point a justified little trip for the team to get together, have a couple of beers or something. And I think it has to involve, visiting and supporting that joint. I did say like only a little prize to effectively pay for people's burgers, but I did say if anyone, the first 10 people to do a selfie of themselves having a burger, you can hold the burger right in front of your face if you want to protect your privacy. We'll get 500 million EverGrow. It's only a small amount, I appreciate, but it'll pay for your burger and your fries. So that offer's still open.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what an incredible member of the EGC fam. Please, everybody, give EverGrow or Bust a huge round of applause for just the planning and dedication that went into this. It's not just simply, okay, I'm going to make a burger. There's a lot of thought that went into it. And I just seen kind of a small window of how long it takes to get to that step.
Where's it at in Florida?
Naples and Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I was closer. That is both hilarious and amazing. I love that.
I want to find out how, what somebody like, how it tastes, because it looks amazing. I'm going to take a trip down there when I can. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that the whole EverGrow family, if it's practical or within distance, there's a lot of us. If anyone can, go and support that business, I think they should. I think it's a fantastic thing they've done. I want them to know we're super grateful. And I will pledge at some point, I don't know when, everyone knows I'm a little bit further away than everybody or a lot of people, but I will pledge at some point to visit and take a selfie there myself.
Awesome. Speaking of great community members, actually, Denny Brandenberger is also doing another giveaway. I mean, I lost track of how many there are now. 3 winners. One winner is going to get 100 BUSD. Second will win a billion EGC, and the third winner will win 1 million Lucro. So see Denny's Twitter page for the official rules at Dennis Brandon B4 for the rules. Yeah.
Look, I thought
we can pin that one in here. So
I was the giveaway. I was the giveaway king. At the beginning of start of EverGrow, I was doing giveaways every 2 weeks, and now Danny's come along and just taking my crown away from me.
Never mind.
I love it though.
I'm trying to learn how to do. You believe it? I was doing these big spaces with Mario, and I don't have a clue about how to do anything. But I'm going to try and pin the tweet, the giveaway, and the burger tweet. I'm going to go and find them, see if I can pin them too. Yeah, but let me do it, Paul, because I need to prove to myself that I can do this. I was on like Mario's space with like millions of people listening, and he was like, "I'll do this, man." I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So let me see if I can pin those 2 tweets into this chat.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Brain Bro said, I'm going to eat that burger. Yeah, me too. Absolutely. Ivan had asked, what's the status of having EGC added to the unmineable.com platform as mentioned in the past? I imagine the team's been a little busy, but go ahead if you want to answer to that.
It's stuff has been really busy right now. I took a look at it. I'm just super swamped right now. I probably have, Steve, you've seen, I've got 20, team windows open up, throughout different, on Discord, Telegram, WhatsApp, maybe more than 20 with different partners.
I don't know how you guys keep it together, honestly.
It's not easy. I'll tell you that. Sometimes, you don't want to miss messages. So we're constantly going back and forth, but, I can promise you when stuff, if you want to, every week or something, or every 2 weeks, why don't you remind me and I can give you an update on it. So if you want to message me on my, on this account, I'll make sure I look into it more. We're so busy right now that it's hard to even get to anything else because we're trying to get this stuff out first for you guys. And it's really nonstop.
You wouldn't believe how many partnerships, how many contracts, how many test tokens we have to send, and you wouldn't believe. But in all of that, I managed to learn how to pin tweets onto the nest.
You finally got it?
Well, yeah, but then I got gazumped because I see EGC fam also pinned it after I'd already pinned it.
Sorry, Sam. I had to try as well. I don't know how to.
Oh, you're just practicing. We're going to put it like 100 times. I didn't know.
You can actually remove it.
Can speakers do it as well? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so speakers can put anything up there, and
you've removed mine as well. Someone's just removed
I didn't. I removed mine.
Who's just removed mine? Someone did that. Someone put back. Someone put back Denny's post on there.
I'll do it.
Look at us. You wonder how we're managing to build like the best crypto wallet in the world and the best marketplace. We're all scratching our heads around to pin tweets, but trust us, we're not. It's very late for me. It's 1 a.m, so I'm just a bit dozy, to be honest. On that subject, I'll probably do maybe 1 or 2 more questions and then get some sleep.
That was the majority of it. But actually, I was going to offer, so in the last space, I had tweeted that I had purchased some the Atlas Wallet shirts, and I'll link some pictures when I have them, various different sizes, and I'm going to put them up in the store at cost, just to blow them out really fast. And I actually bought them. I'm donating to the store, but I'd like to send the team some shirts, and if you're more than welcome to share where I can mail them, I'd love to mail them out to you guys.
That'd be awesome. It's so appreciated. Obviously, huge appreciation in the store as well. Amazing thing to do to the community. We're so lucky to have you guys. Like, so many people in this community. You can't even begin to list them. But what an amazing community. And like I said earlier on, especially like forged in fire after what we've gone through as a project over the last 18 months.
Yeah, and you guys are all supporting the store, buying product and all that stuff, and we're getting close to that magic $1,000 mark, and so then we will, hopefully the timing will work out great. We can do a giveaway right around when we have a launch. So let's do that.
Amazing.
Yeah. Zelda, you had a question. Thanks for being so patient. Zelda, you there? You've been so patient. Hopefully you didn't fall asleep on us.
Don't forget to turn your mic on, Zelda.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any other questions that came in. EverGrow Matt said, don't buy burgers for 5 million EGC. Does no one remember the Bitcoin pizza story? No kidding.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
That's funny.
Buy the burgers with it's better because you buy. I don't know how much the burgers are. I don't even know how much stuff is these days. Inflation and the US and the dollar. I don't know. The burgers like $10, $20, and we'll give you 500 million EverGrow, which is worth about whatever $20, $30. So then the opposite of the Bitcoin story is going to happen. You buy the burger and you get the EverGrow token from us if you do the selfie. But we'll limit that to the first 10 or so.
I'm going to try and work with them also. And
have they offered you a job making burgers?
No. I'm trying to work with EverGrow Bust and get a where you can accept crypto payments in the restaurant.
That'd be very cool. But Lucro, not EverGrow. Like, we don't encourage anyone to sell their EverGrow. Lucro is game. Trade the hell out of Lucro. That's what it's there for. I'm excited about Lucro gaming because we think it's going to be fun. It's going to create volume for Lucro. It's going to create demand for Lucro. And then obviously we've got LunaSky going live with Lucro. We've got Atlas with Lucro right there on the native list. So people are going to see Lucro and they're going to go, what's this token I've never heard of before? And it's same with EverGrow, obviously. Like we got to remember that one of our big advantages is, I know we were huge for a short period of time back in 2021, but one of the big advantages is a lot of people don't know about EverGrow, and that means there's a whole world out there who never bought EverGrow, and hopefully will start to understand what we've got.
And how many people have stepped away, though, from crypto in general, but they still know about EverGrow, and they're just waiting for an opportunity to get back in?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've ran a survey, and I think around about 50% of my followers were planning to buy more EverGrow, whether they were still holding or whether they'd sold. So that's interesting, like in itself. That's just one survey, obviously, but I think we need to capture new people, and obviously we will. The whole point of being successful is not just to keep selling to the existing holders. That you'd never get anywhere. The idea is more and more people should start to hear about us when we get the utilities out and we get some momentum again.
Absolutely. And EverGrow Man is actually in the audience right now. EverGrow Man, you've been immortalized by a cheeseburger. And so hopefully you will get a chance to travel to Naples or Vanderbilt and enjoy one of your own burgers named after you. Thank you for everything you do for the EverGrow community. You are amazing. I really appreciate everything that you do. So thank you.
Freaking legend. He's a legend.
Yeah, we love the guy. Hey, man, when we hit $1 billion market cap, not investment advice, if the market conditions allow us to hit $1 billion, we've got to be so careful these days. We'll fly you over. We'll put you in a hotel. I'm sure no one in the community would mind. And we'll get you a burger. But you have to wear the EverGrow Man suit on the plane. That's the condition. If you do, and you got to wear it around Miami or wherever you're staying. On the night out in a bar, you get loads of girls at once. It's all good.
That would be a very, very immigration customs. That would be an interesting interview, wouldn't
it? It's probably the customs. By that point, the customs officer will have like a massive bag of it.
There you go. Exactly. Oh man, thank you so much. Anybody have? Let me see. You'll review the questions. If there's anything more, I don't see any more.
I've got a question. Is anybody in here not following EverGrow, man? Because, come on, he's like the hero of our entire token, and he's still only got, he needs to have 10,000 followers. This guy. So can everybody watching? I can't. I'm going to pin his. I'm getting into this pinning on the thing. I've just pinned his last video. So go follow this guy, man. Like if you're an EverGrow holder, you should be following EverGrow, man.
It's so
we've
funny.
literally we've built like an entire ecosystem around this guy. We've got memes and we've got all this stuff, and people aren't following him. So come on, what are you saying there, Paul?
It's funny. You are on the biggest spaces on Twitter constantly on that thing, and you're just learning how to pin a tweet on Spaces.
I know it's
you've been
true.
on the biggest spaces that there is, like on Twitter. That's so funny. But no,
this is technical,
I'm getting good at it now, though.
Yeah, it's just you just got to find that button at the very top. It's not really a button. It's just kind of.
All right, don't simplify it, Paul. There's people in the audience who think I'm a technical genius for doing this.
I do actually have a question.
The project is safe in this guy's hand. He's learned how to pin a tweet.
Actually, I do have a question for you, Sam, about the spaces with Mario and all that stuff. I wish I could attend them more often, but you've been doing this a long time now, at least 7-8 months or something, maybe longer. How do you find that whole dynamic? I'm curious to know,
isn't it? I haven't done the last 2 days, which were the biggest in history. They're absolutely insane, especially the Russia one. I took a break I did the first ones, obviously with crypto, and then Mario asked me to host the Andrew Tate ones, which turned out to be a nightmare. I shouldn't have really got involved because of various things. I think people who follow the Sam Twits account probably know why. But I've only actually done a handful in the last 2 months. I did, and Mario wants me to get up there and be like the token libtard. I say that jokingly. I am actually genuinely quite balanced in my politics, but I obviously have liberal leanings. So, and Mario knows I'm quite analytical. So, as you're asking, and I think it's important that the EverGrow holders kind of, know that this is like a hobby in my free time. So I've only done about 5 of those spaces in the last few months. I think when I'm on them, it seems like a big deal, but I've told Mario that I just don't have so much time to do them. But I do feel that they're good in the long term. I've talked to the team about this. At some point, obviously, we're going to have products out there, and for me to be connected to those spaces will be helpful. So the process for me is actually I absorb stuff and research stuff super quick. So Mario will say to me, "Look, we're going to do the Trump indictment, and I want you to be the co-host because he knows that I'm going to push back on some of the speakers. He knows that I'm going to push back." So literally the process for me is these spaces are like midnight for me. So I'm sat there 11 o'clock at night and I open up my computer and I start digging into stuff, and I never research them for more than an hour, and then I'm on the space for 2 or 3 hours, and have a very late night, and then that's it, and then I might do another one a week later or something. So they seem to be quite dominating just because of how big they are, but the reality is, for me, I've only done a handful. I did the Andrew Tate one the other day. We hadn't done an Andrew Tate one for 3 months. I did the Trump indictment, and then I think I did 2 more. So I think I've done 4 or 5 in the last few months because I took a long break. But I enjoy them because I like a stimulating debate. But I don't. I can't. Mario knows that I can't be in them. I mean, some guys are on those things like 12 hours a day. Mario knows that I'll be able to pop in depending on the timing, depending on the subject. Co-host or speak for a couple of hours, and then it's me. It's a bit, I'm quite a geeky guy. I'm not out partying. I don't really drink, so it's quite a fun thing for me to do, to be honest. I'm interested. I think people know who follow my other account. I'm interested in politics and world affairs and things like that. So it's either that or I'm sitting and watching a movie. That's in the evening. I'm pretty boring these days. So for me, I'd rather have an intellectual debate with some interesting people than sit and watch TV for like 2 or 3 hours in the evening. So that's kind of how it is. And Mario knows the situation. He knows about EverGrow, obviously. I don't ever talk about EverGrow because it's not appropriate. And if you start like shilling stuff on those spaces, you do more harm than good. That's the honest truth. They are divisive. EverGrow can speak for itself. It doesn't need me to go on there into a divisive political space and people who disagree with me may start fudding EverGrow just because they don't like my political opinions. And that's why when we did a vote a long time ago to keep the 2 accounts separate, I think you guys probably remember that. I said, do you want me to join Mario's spaces from my EverGrow account or from my other account? And it was like 90% of people said, Sam, keep politics away from EverGrow. And I agreed that that's what I wanted to do as well. And to be honest, I think it's worked fine. There's very little like crossover between me discussing stuff on Mario's show and EverGrow. And for now, I think that's exactly the right thing to do. I think maybe in the future we will play an advantage to EverGrow. But I mean, what do you guys think? Like, I suspect some of the people listen and shake their head and go, oh, "Why is Sam getting involved in this stuff?" But
I was going to say something. And
yeah.
I was going to say this on the side, but I listened to. I know we talked about it, but I missed the spaces where it was about the Andrew Tate, and I got into the middle after like a half hour, and I literally felt embarrassed for every single one of you of how these grown men and women are sitting there talking about Andrew Tate. Like, who gives a shit, really? And getting mad at each other and this. I felt embarrassed, and for you and for everybody else. Like, I couldn't believe y'all cared.
Honestly, I tweeted afterwards that it was like the worst 3 hours of my life. It was so stressful that, I had to, and it had a bit of backlash. I'm not going to get into it. I said I wouldn't speak about that subject ever again because it's just not worth it. It's a very peculiar situation to be in. The whole situation is very peculiar, and in all honesty, because of the fanaticism around the subject, it's worse than talking about Trump versus Biden by 100x. Is what I was saying.
That has something to do with politics and the countries and the world. Andrew Tate has nothing to do with anything.
People think the Andrew Tate story is literally, the military-industrial complex of the CIA. That's the problem. Yeah. That's the problem. But anyway, I've already broken my promise to not speak about that subject. So we'll move swiftly on before people realize exactly I agree.
Ultimately, I think Sam has a correct approach because let's be a little bit real here for a second. The Tate story is divisive as heck, and if people agree with you, nobody's going to get out of their way to go buy EverGrow if you mention that. But if people disagree with you, they will go out of your way to fuzz EverGrow. So I think that's dangerous. Definitely keep it separate.
Yeah, you're right. And the interesting thing is we've debated other subjects like Trump, and I have made friends with people on the other side. I have people like Tom Fitton following me on Twitter, and I have literally drilled the hell out of him and had aggressive debates with him and yet there's a mutual respect there. Unfortunately, in the other subject, I'm not even going to mention the name of it anymore. There seems to be no room for mutual respect and debate. It's like that's not the intention of it. So I think the political space is a fair game. People want an interesting debate. I've made friends with people on the panel, etc. Other speakers who are diametrically opposed to the things I've said. I often play devil's advocate on those spaces. I push back on stuff that maybe subjects I'm not particularly bothered about. I'll be honest with you. I'll say his name one more time. I'm not that bothered. I don't give a shit about Andrew Tate. I didn't even know who he was in December. Mario just knew exactly the guy to put on that side of the debate, basically. And, Mario chose me because he knew I'd be able to handle it. But honestly, if I could go back and say, oh, no, Mario, I'm busy tonight, I would have, because it became more stressful. So I couldn't care less. If something wrong was done, I think that justice should be served. And if it turns out something wrong wasn't done, and he's just a cocky guy who says controversial things, then that's not a criminal offence. That's honestly my belief. Yeah, that's honestly my belief. But if I'm asked to analyze evidence and read stuff out from the prosecution and this, that, and the other, and it upsets people that I'm doing that, that's just because they don't want to hear the information that's out there. It's not because I'm forming an opinion.
Ultimately, that's exactly the problem.
It's quite funny how we managed to get onto that subject, but that's all fair game. I mean, I think the EverGrow community have a right, to ask me about that. In all honesty, but I think, I realised that I think the other debates are actually pretty good for us, because they never, people follow me after those, high profile followers, Kim.com, and as I said, Tom Fit, and there's so many people, high profile people who I've debated quite heavily with, and then we've had DMs afterwards, and it's been like, that was great, man, really enjoyed it. And they're like, yeah, all fair game. I think people don't realise that there's a bit of theatre going on in these debates, and there's actually mutual respect. Otherwise these people wouldn't come back for round two. If they felt offended and didn't want to come back. One of the toughest guys on there is Sebastian Gorka. Does anybody know this guy?
Yeah, I know he is.
I mean, he's difficult to debate, because you've got to be careful, because if you
he was in the Trump administration for a little bit, very
and he's very sensitive, so he blocks people and this, that, and the other. So there's always a little bit in the background that says, don't push Gorka too hard, because he'll block you or he'll leave. I'm like, oh, come on, it's got to have more of a backbone. But I respect these people for it, and I respect them for coming on the show and having a strong debate. I don't respect people for just blocking someone who they don't agree with. But I'm not saying that's the case with Sebastian Gorka. He's just a passionate debater, and you have to tread carefully when you're on, because for these people, for me, I'm detached from all this stuff. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just there for a hobby. It's like I'm a geeky guy who's gone to debating class at college or whatever. That's why I'm there. I don't really have any skin in the game. Whereas these people are friends, Sebastian Gorka and Tom Fitton are friends with Donald Trump, for example. So if I'm on a space, putting points across that make them uncomfortable about Donald Trump, again, I don't need to give my opinion when I'm reading out the law or the Presidential Records Act or whatever. Anyone who listens to the shows will see that I don't really give my opinion, but I really upset people by reading out facts from legal documents and acts that contradict what they're saying. They'll say something and I'll say, well, actually, I've got the Presidential Records Act in front of me, and in paragraph 17.3 it says this, and that's a complete contradiction of what you've just said. That's not me arguing with them or giving my opinion, but it really upsets the hell out of them, because they can't really come back from that. So, that's been my role on the. I never need to give my opinion to upset people. I just need to prove them wrong, and all becomes that. That's why Mario gets me on those spaces. That's it. Not because I'm opinionated and I'm this, that, and the other, but I'm just quite good at finding the right passage in the right document to contradict someone.
I was going to ask.
You're not a radical lefty. Me and Sam talk. I call him, Lefty Sam. I have little pet nicknames for Sam. But we just joke around about it. Yeah, I just joke around about it. But I'm a little bit on the right. He's a little bit on the left. we hardly even talk about it because he's logical, I'm logical. It barely comes up in any conversation in the last 2 years, and because it really doesn't matter. And I think that's the way, I know we're getting a little into politics. I think that's the way it should be. Everything's getting too right and left. Just be logical, have a conversation about it, then move on about your day. You can still be friends.
Right, Paul, but that's what Sam mentioned earlier. That's that mutual respect that you both have. Even if you don't agree on two things, you can still talk about it because you mutually respect each other. The problem is when you have, you respect the people that have your opposing opinion, but they don't respect you. And
I agree. And that is one of the problems that does arise on those spaces. Like I generally, I kind of like most people in the world, even people, as a person, I think, for example, Donald Trump, Andrew Tate, they're really entertaining, but some of the stuff that, they may have done is potentially very, very bad. I'm just saying, potentially. But I'm saying, like, as people, you can tell why people love them. There's no denying that you can tell why people love these people. And I've tweeted on my other account that my girlfriend is sitting there laughing at Instagram videos, and I'm like, who's that? And it's King Donald Trump. And she goes, oh, I love Donald Trump. I'm like, what? And I just discovered this. She said we've never mentioned it before. And then and now every 5 minutes she sends me a video of Biden falling over or mumbling on his words. I don't support Biden either. That's what annoys me. If I go up and say something that may be considered anti-Trump, everyone will be like, you're Biden, this, Biden. I'm like, I'm not a Biden supporter. I don't think Biden should be president. He's not capable of being president. It's ridiculous. Like, I'd rather find it less, I think they're both too divisive. I think DeSantis is too divisive, Paul, before you jump in. And I think that the US actually is getting torn to pieces, and they need to find someone who is actually going to really try to bring the US together, because it's so divisive, politics nowadays. But how do we get into politics? Probably because it's 1:15 for me. And that's what you do at this time of night.
Okay. I know it's really late for you. I appreciate you being here, Sam. Any final questions for Sam or Paul?
Captain EverGrow, did you want to say something? His hand up.
Yeah. Well, CWP, you just unmuted. How are you, my friend? It's nice to speak to you. Are you there, CWP?
Yeah, I think he's having mic problems.
Oh, well, if you're here, pop in and say hello. If you're not, hi anyway. It's nice to see you.
Thanks, hi.
Hey, good to hear you.
Captain EverGrow, do you have something to say?
You there, Captain? Go ahead.
Yeah, hi there. Hi, Sam. I was just going to ask a question in regards to, I know you talk on a lot of spaces. There's a thing going on in the UK in regard to court case for the tulip trading versus the Van der Laan, where I believe it's Dr. Craig White believes he's a Satoshi Nakamoto. I was just wondering what your opinion on that sort of court case, or if you knew about it or anything was.
I'll be completely honest with you. I'm just not knowledgeable on it at all. Is there anything you want to share with us about it that's of interest?
Well, I originally sort of stumbled across it from a YouTube video, and I did a bit of research. Sorry, that's my phone battery flipping off. But the key sort of point that I sort of got from it was it has more of an implication on open source itself, because even though the case wasn't sort of necessarily taken too serious, the guy in itself was trying to not just sue the Bitcoin devs, but with the fiducial duty, it's basically the question that open up. So, say for instance, Linux, they create software. When you put it out put it into the public, where does that fiducial duty lie? So that's basically an underlying case, if you know what I mean, that's within a case. So it's not just an issue for the Bitcoin community and the Bitcoin devs. It could essentially be a bigger widespread for the whole open source community.
It's interesting. I just had a brief look at it, and it's effectively questioning the decentralized governance of Bitcoin. I can see that. like the headline, the myth of decentralized governments of Bitcoin. Yes, I mean, I don't know enough about it to comment now, but I'll definitely have a read up. It looks interesting.
What I wanted to note too, we're talking about, political spaces right now, but, we all talked about it behind the scenes. And once Atlas and LunaSky come out and, onto our products, we'll be doing a lot more crypto spaces, not only on ours, on Atlas, LunaSky, and also other people's spaces also. We're going to be branching out, and Sam will be doing some, I'll be doing others, and I'm sure Cody Rock will be doing others in the NFT space. So I want you to know, we'll be branching out, once we have something to sell, once there's something to talk about and be proud of. Since we've been, hyping up EverGrow for so long, we don't want to do that right now. So as soon as that happens, we're going to be branching out and doing a lot more spaces that are just crypto.
Yeah, and obviously, again, the advantage is that we can do them from our independently branded products, so we can reach people outside the community, which, as we explained before, is essential for the growth of our utilities and also obviously for the growth of EverGrow itself.
All right, I'm going to bring up On the Grow Crypto. If you have a question for Sam or Paul or Rocket, just please go ahead. On the Grow Crypto, how you doing?
Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for being here today.
It's great. This is actually my first space in a while, and I think it's really great that all of us get together on a regular basis. But it's really says something about this community and this project and company that the management comes together like this on such a casual level. And to that point, I try to talk. I'm in the States, and I try to talk to people on a fairly regular basis about projects that I'm have convictions for. And of course, EverGrow tops the list with the trust and the transparency. But if I was going to put together like a conversational pitch to people, I would say that it has to start with the transparency and the publicity that you guys have, and then the amount of money that us as a project has to sustain the project and then push out the marketing when the market timing is right. My question for you guys is there anything else that I'm missing that I should really just put in my sort of conversational bag whenever I'm talking to people in the mall or wherever about EverGrow? Because I wear crypto merch everywhere I go, so everybody's always coming up to me. What is this? What is this? What is this? So of course I'm biased and I'm an EverGrow freak, so I always end up waltzing the conversation back around to EGC, but I try to be fair and talk about other things also. But what am I missing besides our marketing budget is fat, our chairman and our whole management team and everybody is so public and doxed, and there's all this trust and the community is stacked. What else? Is there anything else that I could really throw in there to help us sell it?
Well, I'll be honest. I think our real USP is the branding approach, and to be honest, I think it's the killer, because I think if we launch something called EverGrow Wallet, it would fail 100%. But I believe Atlas Wallet will be 100% successful. I believe that is the difference, because it's so obvious that you cannot just build a product for a tiny market. Trust Wallet has something like 10 million people who've downloaded it, or millions of active users. EverGrow has 140,000 holders. We have 70,000 followers on the Twitter. We know only a percentage of those are active. If we tried to launch Atlas to only appeal to EverGrow holders, and the same with LunaSky, we'd probably max out at 10 to 15,000 users, and that'd be it. And it wouldn't be worth doing. So I really think that us taking that approach from the beginning, making that our approach across a whole ecosystem of individually branded, unique products. And again, it gives us an insurance policy as well, because if it would only take one product to go really mainstream for us to be successful. If we make our whole ecosystems mainstream, then it would be just mind blowing. So, again, by dividing them up, having different teams on them, and that different teams approach is going to grow. Obviously we'll have management overseeing things in general, but even the management team, as you can see, at this stage is divided up, and we'll expand those teams. And then when we have more utilities come out, there will be even more teams dedicated to making those products. And the thing is that you see in the incumbents, you see these products in the market that have barely improved for years because they're just sitting there on their throne as the number one this or number one that. That's not going to be the case for us. We're going to continuously innovate, and the teams are going to be incentivized to do that. We're going to give them budget, constant development. As Paul was saying, constant new partnerships will come in for on-ramp, off-ramp. We're going to build some solutions ourselves to make everything as cheap as possible within the wallet, from swapping to cross-chain swapping to all the other features that we're going to build. And yet with that, we have the unique thing is we have a big community behind us to help market Atlas, but Atlas belongs to all of crypto, and it's the same with LunaSky. So but we have that boost, that head start of having, a passionate community to get us, started off. So that could be a good little third wheel to add to your pitch, I think.
One thing I
also, sorry, I would like to add on what Sam said. You can see Sam replying on Twitter and everything, like on several tweets, like the chairman of the project replying to any regular holder asking something, just to set it clear. But also you can see like several stuff we are picking up from different like chats or tweets or in Facebook, on Telegram, Discord. So we do get like feedback. We are responsive, and we are trying, to get as much as we can from the community, so we can actually apply that to the product. I know it may not be straightforward right now, but this is a target to have something that people use. You need their feedback, and you need to be responsive and there for them. So that's important as well.
That's a really good point, actually. Our products would not be anywhere near as good. I mean, LunaSky has been effectively an open beta build in many respects, because everything that's happening on the beta version, which is completely different to the development version, everything that's happening there has allowed Cody and Rocket and the rest of the team to understand what a real user wants from their platform, and to design LunaSky proper to fit the profile of the users that we want to attract. And LunaSky will be about projects, because that's where the big money is, but also it's going to be incredibly good for individual artists as well. So I think it's such an important point that you made there, is that we are connected 100% to the community, and we will continue to be connected 100% to everybody who uses our product. When you see these big products like Trust Wallet, like tweeting out, do you think someone's going through those tweets and reading all the feedback and answering and saying, "Oh, let me help you with that"? No, they're not. 100%. In fact, a lot of DeFi projects aren't. And they should be. I like to think that anybody asks a question on the main account or my account, if one of us misses it, someone in the community will answer it, and that's going to be the same with Atlas and everything. I see even other projects that frustrates me, where people are saying, "I'm having a problem with this," and they don't get an answer, or they'll be told to go to a different platform to get their answer. Like, "Oh, join the Telegram for that answer." That's not satisfactory. Like, someone shouldn't have to create a Telegram group, Telegram account to get an answer if they're a holder. They should be able to get an answer from anywhere that they have accessible to them. So I think it's a huge advantage for us as well, is that, we have this incredible community and staff who will not, it's about taking initiative and taking responsibility, or even the community are doing that 24 hours a day. People in our community see someone asking a question and they answer it. And that's just amazing, because our community are knowledgeable and they're loyal and they want to help other holders. And I just don't see that. And I'm saying that because I scroll through Twitter and I see other projects, and I see they have 12 questions under their official account and nobody's answering them. And it blows my mind. Or they'll say, "Oh, join our Telegram if you want us to answer that question." I'm like, no, you answer the damn question where they've asked it. They invested in your token, or they're going to invest in your token. Why would you not make their life easy right now by answering that question? It actually frustrates me when I see that. And I think that's another huge advantage because we're going to continue that ethos when we launch these utilities. We don't want users to be scratching their heads and waiting around for answers to stuff. We want them to feel completely connected to us at all time. Especially with LunaSky is going to have live chat, which is going to be an absolute game changer. We've talked about Atlas Wallet having live chat. Atlas Wallet is so simple that it may not need it, and there's also like some extra issues when you try to put live chat into a wallet. But we'll make sure 100% that there's like a YouTube channel with videos and that there's a community available and that the account is manned so that people are answering the questions. We will, because we proved that for 18 months. So we don't leave questions unanswered. We've managed to maintain that level of customer service.
Live chat in the wallet?
No, I said initially no. We've talked about it. There's some challenges to it that mean it may not be practical. And I think when people start using it, I think the beta testers probably know this already. You can literally just pick it up. If there was anything that we noticed that wasn't 100% easy to use and intuitive, we would actually upgrade it to fix it. I use Trust Wallet sometimes, and I find like going to the wallets list can be a bit confusing because it's not where it should be in the main UI. It's like, and Trust Wallet's actually a really simple, easy to use wallet. So for that to be a problem with Trust Wallet. So these are things that, if enough people say, if 100 people say to us in the first month, oh, where's this? Like, how do I do this? I mean, oh man, why is it not completely and utterly obvious how you create a watch only wallet, for example, or something like that? Then we will upgrade the UI to make sure that nobody ever has to ask that question again. But yeah, with Atlas, we're going to obviously have the Twitter account and we're going to have a YouTube channel. But it's really important that there will be customer service, but we're not going to have a chat built into Atlas. We did think about it. We may do it if we feel we need to, but we're going to make sure that people know where to come for help.
I was just asking because, if LunaSky makes sense to me, at least. But as far as the Atlas wallet, live chat and the Atlas wallet, I kind of see that getting out of hand relatively quickly. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could see it easily getting to a point where it's just too much.
It's a good point. And the problem is if you like I said, I don't think there should be any point within the UI of Atlas Wallet where after 5 or 10 seconds, someone's still scratching their heads going, how do I do this thing? It's so easy to use that we hope. And like I said, if we get feedback that people say, where's this? And we see it like 20, 30 times in the first 2 days, then we'll realize that we need to fix it. But I think you're right about it getting out of hand, because if the chat is just there, someone won't even bother trying to look for something. They'll just use the chat as their eyes, and they'll be like, I'm just going to straight away ask the question rather than spending 2 minutes exploring, So there is a limit. I think LunaSky, everybody knows it's a little bit more complex when you're getting into NFTs for the first time to mint your first NFT or to buy one, this, that, and the other. I think it's valid to have chat there as people are exploring. But with the wallet, I think it's so basic. It's so easy to use. If you want to swap, you press the swap button, and then it says on-chain or cross-chain, and you press it, and it says, you pop what you want in one box, what you want to get out in the other. That's it, and that's about the most complex thing you can do.
And even if you don't take into account, the complexity of the marketplace, LunaSky versus Atlas, I'm just talking about, I expect Atlas to have a far bigger user base than LunaSky. That's why I say that it can easily get out of control. And like you said, if they have that feature, that will be 99% of people will be the first thing they do is go directly to the live chat, which could get out of control very easily.
Yeah, I could see a lot of if we were to have live chat in LunaSky, Atlas Wallet, a lot of it would be, someone getting scammed and then say, my tokens, I want a refund. I think that would be 90% of it.
And I'll say that Rocket isn't saying that because of security problems. Rocket's saying that because people go and connect their DeFi wallets to stuff they shouldn't be, and that is not a security issue from the wallet. But yeah, you're right. People are going to come to us for the wrong reasons. And also, as I said, if it's been designed right, then it shouldn't need customer service, and then we will just have people literally using it because they can't be bothered to spend 2 seconds looking for something.
And we've had our beta testers go through it, and if they have trouble finding something, and they give us 100%, their feedback. They just don't tell us it's great because we want to hear that it's great. What's the problem with this? What's the problem with that? Is this in the wrong spot? Did you have trouble finding this? And I think if we did have that, like I've said from the beginning, I've already got the questions of how come my card doesn't work? Can't you guys contact Simplex to make my card go through? It's not something we would be able to do, is contact Simplex to get the, you would have to contact Simplex in order to get your bank to go through. And that's why we're trying to put as many options on there. That would
who do we have in here that's an Atlas beta tester? I know Steve is. Anybody else? Me. Okay, so anyone who's an Atlas beta tester, very honestly, obviously we've made some improvements since. When you first used it, was there any confusion in your head of how to use it?
Not at all.
Okay.
The only one thing that I didn't know how to do at first was to find my seed phrase. That was it. It was just a little different spot. It wasn't where I was expecting it. So that's it. But I mean, it was an easy fix,
Cool. No, that's good feedback. And to be honest, if we had 150 people tell us in the first month, how do I find my seed phrase? We'd probably go, right, let's make this one step easier, But I think you have to sort of get a bit of feedback first. But I think overall, my experience is, I've shown it to people and I've said, I take it on there, so let me have a look. And people just know instinctively how to use it straight away. You already know how to use it.
Yeah, it's very, very simple.
Zelda,
very simple.
You there? Marios, if you want to say something.
Yeah, I'm here.
You want to say something about the wallet?
For me, the one that I found so easy to do is the breach. So as Sam said, go swap and then on chain and cross chain, it's so easy and
it's crazy, isn't it? Like you think how hard it was.
Saves you time sending tokens to exchanges and do the stuff, and then set it back. You just do everything there, and that's it.
And you think how hard it was to buy EverGrow? Oh, nice, man. Nice. You think how hard it was to buy EverGrow, and still is for some people. But literally, obviously we're going to have direct buys for EverGrow anyway, but even if we didn't, you could direct buy BNB, press swap, and nothing. You don't have to connect your wallet. You don't have to do anything. You literally just type in the number of BNB you've got. It will show you how much EverGrow you're going to get, and you press swap, and then you confirm. It's
no slippage, no nothing,
and it's fast. It's very fast.
And remember, we are not building this to buy stuff on BNB or BSC. We're building a wallet so you can buy everything. Crypto, people are rushing to buy this token on Ethereum, and then they come back on BNB because they found another one. So having all these to do it fast from your wallet, because obviously time is a huge thing. Then it's easy to do. You avoid so much.
I mean, if you think of scenarios that people are in where they might see a coin on ETH that they want, and they have to go to one app, one website to find it. They got some BNB, for example, and then so they'd have to go and find a website to swap that BNB into ETH, and then they'd have to take that ETH and enter a contract address in probably a different wallet or whatever. And those problems are gone because we're gonna natively list hundreds of tokens. We're going to make sure that the trending launches are in Atlas Wallet. And even if they're not, obviously, it's just you still have to do the contract import thing. But if you're sat there with BNB, within 2 steps and a few minutes, you can have bought a token on ETH, a small coin like a newly launched project or whatever, in 2 steps without leaving a wallet in literally a matter of minutes. That is not the case right now. You'd have to find a cross-chain swap website. You'd have to connect to it. You'd have to put your destination address. Sometimes you'd have to wait quite a long time for the tokens to land. Then when you've got that ETH that you've swapped, you then have to go and, go onto, a swap, connect your wallet, do all that nonsense. that it's just all there in our wallet. It's just there and it's so easy. You know,
One of my favorite.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I swapped BNB to Ethereum, and then BNB to Ape, and BNB to Kronos, and did them all within a 5-minute span.
Nice.
It was just beautiful.
That's amazing. Yeah.
One of my new favorite words now is omni-chain, and really, Atlas Wallet is an omni-chain wallet. If you think about it.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure, but it's so late for me. So I will have to drop out, but I'm sure some of these guys will carry on.
Thank you so much for being here, Sam. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Paul, are you going to pick up the mantle and do some talking?
Yeah, stick around.
Awesome. Okay, guys, thanks so much always. Steve, you're a legend. Everyone make sure that you follow everyone that you see and have a great one, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. Have a great night. All right, guys. I really appreciate it. If anybody has any questions for Paul, just please let us know and put your hand up, and we'll just keep going.
I actually wanted to add something to On the Go Crypto.
Sure.
Of what he was saying about something he could say about EverGrow, and people actually probably seen me write this a few times. So EverGrow got to a $1.5 billion market cap within 6 weeks of launch. Obviously, that was in the bull market with a 14% tax. Pepe just beat us to that with a 0% tax. They got to a $1.5 billion market cap within 3 weeks, but they had no tax. So we did it in 6 weeks with 14% taxes on in and out during a bull run. And now we're, what $19 million market cap. And, a lot of people know who EverGrow is. So we have a huge upside that we've already been there and people know who we are. So if we can get our, utilities to work, then like I said, utilities out and get them popular, get some traction, then EverGrow will follow with it in the next bull run. And, hopefully we can get up to that or close, not financial advice. I have no idea, but just hope so. But I think we have a better chance of getting there because we've already been there once. And we're so low right now, there's a higher, if you buy now, then there's, instead if we were at like a $500 million market cap, that'd only be a 3x if we got to 1.5 again. Now it'd be like, I don't even know what it would be, a 50x, something like that, if we got back to where we were. So there's a lot more room for growth to get back to our all-time high.
I think once you see the marketing plan in place too on the Grow Crypto, you're going to be pretty impressed. The team has a really, really good concept and plan going forward, and I really see it building a lot of momentum. And it's not something I've ever heard of, and I think once you see it, you're going to be impressed too.
And Sam's plan seems to be, and Paul's plan, and Cody's, everybody's plan, but Sam's plan seems to be going forward to focus on the fact that the biggest players in the game have become complacent. And if we keep building and if we keep going forward, of course, that requires constant building, constant financing that building. But if we keep building and we keep pushing forward, eventually, we will catch up to their complacency. And then they'll scramble to respond, but we'll be already there. And once we get to that point, we will be in the mainstream.
And you got to remember, it's still early in crypto, guys. A lot of these projects, Trust Wallet and everything, they got big during the 2021 crypto boom. A lot of the customers, and during the next bull run, there'll be another millions and millions of new users. The next bull run after that, there'll be millions and millions of users. There's still plenty of people out there that are going to want to use new products. So it's not like we're late. We're late from the last bull run, but we're not late in the form of the whole industry is still very, very young.
I kind of just like though, going back to 2021 and the absolute craze hype fueled that the whole year of 2021 was. Started in 2020, but then went into 2021, and we haven't seen nothing like that since. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. It will. But I just like using metrics and going back to times like that and using metrics like, all-time highs or all-time lows, because I feel like they don't accurately represent the value of a particular token or project. Whereas you should be looking at the middle term. You should be looking at the all-time average, not the all-time high or all-time low. Those are, an all-time high can be very influenced by extreme hype and nothing else. And an all-time low can be influenced by a very strong bear market, very weak bear market, and a lot of FUD. So the all-time average is actually, in my view, the real worth of any project and any token over its entire existence.
Hey, Moon, does that mean you're going to start asking me when all-time average?
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
That's good.
Let's start a new trend. When all-time average.
Yeah, it's got a great ring. It rolls right off the tongue. I think that should be our new slogan.
Yes.
But I wonder what our all-time average is. That got me thinking. What the average is.
Just thinking about that sentence makes my head hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it really does mine too. Yeah.
I just dislike some of this. A lot of times in so many projects, and especially when you go on YouTube, there's a lot of anti-crypto people on YouTube. They say, oh, this project 99% down from all-time high, 97% down from all-time high, 90% down from all-time high. Yes, because you're talking about the all-time high. But the same exact thing could be said from the all-time low.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? The average is what will give you the actual real value. The fact that you're comparing to the best possible performance ever, of course, they'll always give you very high percentage numbers, but it's misleading.
I was going to ask on the Go Crypto, what's your take? I've seen you do a couple of videos on YouTube about crypto. What's your take on BlackRock and Fidelity and these companies getting involved in there? How are you seeing that from your point of view?
Oh wow! Give me a little a tiny question, don't you? I feel like everybody knows that everybody that's been in the space for this long, and I say this long as in if you've been in since 2010, good for you. You're as OG as it gets. But I know a lot of people are just a few years in or a year in or something like that, and like someone was just saying, and forgive me, I didn't catch the username, but somebody had just now said, guys, we're so early still in crypto, and that's so true. But I think anyone that's been in the space now understands this is inevitable. Like the next level is inevitable, but the next level is necessary also. And while some people think that the BlackRock spot ETF might be a bad thing, it's also the thing that's got to happen to get everybody else in the space. So I feel like the water might have to get a little muddier before it can be clear in the end. And that sounds probably cheesy and philosophical, but it's true. Like I think that the BlackRock ETF personally will get bad and then good. The same thing with the the leverage ETF. Like that's got a bad day written all over it. Like we turned down applications for spot ETFs all day long, but then the SEC all of a sudden decides, it's okay, let's let them play with leverage. They don't know what they're doing. Sure. I think that that's the opportunity for things to get shaky and scary, and then the SEC can swoop in and say, oh, well, see, we told you guys this was risky business. Ha, ha, ha. But that's unfortunately, true, all of those things I think need to happen before we can get to the other side of the nonsense. I mean, we're always going to be waiting for mass adoption until mass adoption knocks on the door. And here goes BlackRock, the largest asset manager on the planet, ready to take us into that world of mass adoption and attention. And with that comes the other trillions and trillions into our market cap. So I think it's necessary and scary, but I mean, let's all hold hands and hum together in Kumbaya, and let's just get the hell through it already.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last estimate that I saw was under 5% adoption worldwide for crypto. So if that's anywhere near accurate, 5%. And if that's anywhere near, if that's anywhere near accurate, I mean, that's about as early as it gets.
I doubt it's even that much.
You're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the point where, like you just said, BlackRock. Yeah, so basically, this is the devil has to join before the rest will even look at it.
Right.
That's what it takes, and that's what it takes. We hear adoption needs to go up.
And years ago, in the traditional finance space in stocks, the shorts took a beating for many, many years because of the effect that they could have on the market, on the downside especially. Especially we saw that in 2008. Yet they survived. There was no regulation to really get rid of them. If anything, it's gone the other way. So it's inevitable that it would hit crypto. Will we see more volatility in crypto? Probably. Yeah.
Do you guys think that the inevitable control, I mean, because at the end of the day, this is what this is about, right? The big Wall Street, shadow games players want to control this market that they know is the future. They're scared of it this far because they haven't had any control, but now enter BlackRock with all of your BlackRock money and your BlackRock influence. That is them trying to get their hands around the game. And I'm worried that will happen to an extent because, to be able to trade, they'll have to be able to sell the shares of that BlackRock ETF. They'll have to go in and physically in the market buy BTC to back the shares sold. And that has the potential to be a lot of Bitcoin in a Wall Street bigwig's pocket. How does everybody feel about that? Or that kind of control is scary.
It will be. There's no way around that fact. We either let the big dogs come in, right, and take, unfortunately, a big cut of the whole thing, and with that comes a big adoption, or we take the slow walk forward without the big dogs. But we can't have both.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable. I mean, they know how much money there is in the market. They realize just how early it is. I would say they're relatively. I mean, you would think being the biggest in the world that they would be a little bit more careful, but they're risk takers and they see the potential of the amount of money we're talking about, hundreds of billions, probably in the trillions. So it doesn't surprise me that they got in. Would they maybe open it up to maybe beyond BTC? I could see that for sure. And
I mean, when you have that much money, you don't even need to be careful. To be honest.
Exactly. And once they deliver on that value, to their our holders, whoever they may be, there's so much money on the sidelines right now. I think it's just blow your mind.
BlackRock currently has 8.59 trillion with a T U.S. dollars under assets under management.
Mm-hmm.
That was on December of last year, and they're growing. My fear about BlackRock is that they're going to manipulate the hell out of the market. On the other side, BlackRock, yes. On the other hand, BlackRock is larger than most countries in the world.
They're 33% of, I think I calculated, GDP of the U.S. 33%.
Yes. Almost as big as the U.S. Are darn close. What does that mean for the SEC? BlackRock can tell SEC to take a hike.
Not like the SEC has been doing a lot, to be honest.
I think BlackRock could get the SEC changed to a new agency completely. So, at first, the manipulation I see as a very negative thing. But in the end result, it may be very good for U.S. crypto holders.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit if you saw traditional banks start to open up to adding a portfolio within your Bank of America for crypto. It would not surprise me one bit. They are going to want a piece of the action.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw me earlier ask to Sam about the the difficulties between the US market versus the European market as far as on and off ramp features and how easy it is to implement those in both areas. And he said it himself, it's a singe in Europe versus the US, which is an absolute cluster clap of difficulty. And that just goes to show that's a major problem. That is such a huge problem. We don't give enough weight to that. But that is a massive, massive problem. Most of you know I live in the United States, but I come from Europe. I come from Portugal. And they're known, particularly Portugal, they're known for a 0% tax on crypto. So they are literally a crypto heaven. And although there's a 0% tax, you can imagine how many crypto projects and companies have flooded the country because that's a safe haven for crypto. I mean, there's 0% tax. Let's face it, that's amazing. Now, I'm not asking that. I'm not asking for a 0% tax over here in the US, but something has to be done because it is completely, nobody wants to come over here. Nobody. If you're a crypto project, you don't want to come over here. It's a disaster. It's a mess. And that affects every single one of us to a huge extent. I know, honestly, we don't talk enough about that.
Micah provided a great deal of regulatory clarity. And if we could get that level of clarity here, I mean, it would do wonders for confidence within crypto.
It would.
Yeah. So, sorry, on the go. I know you were trying to chime in there. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I just, I agree all around. I think that, like you guys were saying, that we have to let them play or, or continue like the other guy said, the slow walk forward, which so far, how many years has crypto been around? Since 2009. What are we going to do? Double it and keep going slow and slow and slow. I think this is the inevitable push. I think you guys are right. You got to let them in and hope that there's enough for us left over to stay in the space.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you time it with other external forces like Bitcoin halving. I mean, we could see some pretty wild swings in the market. I mean, and I think it was Kathy Wood had said that, 100,000 is, easily doable. $1 million Bitcoin, I think she said, totally doable. I mean, it sounds like it's unreasonable, but when you have a limited supply of an asset and a lot of buyers, you can already buy fractional portions of Bitcoin anyway. It's not like you need to own a whole one. So, yeah.
And don't take me wrong, on the Go Crypto. I mentioned the slow walk forward, but I don't personally, particularly, I don't have anything against that. I mean, if the entirety of the crypto community came together and decided to boycott BlackRock, right, then it is what it is. The community has spoken. We want the slow walk forward. So personally, I don't have anything against that. But my point is, we just cannot have both. We either do the slow walk forward or we have the fast walk forward with the big dogs here and taking a big pie, cut off that pie. So what are we willing to do? That's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just found something very, very interesting, at least to me, maybe not to all of you guys. But I wondered how many countries have crypto as tax-free. And I don't know the answer to that, but I found an interesting article that are the 11 best countries for free crypto, some of which are a little bit of a surprise to me. The one that's the biggest surprise is not a country, and that's Puerto Rico, which is a part of the United States, and they are promoting crypto the way crypto, in my opinion, should be being promoted, with hands off, let it build, and then when it's absolutely necessary, step in and try and regulate it, just as we did with the internet.
That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that.
I think a lot of people have been moving down to Puerto Rico, and I know people don't like me, like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, they moved down there because, and a lot of other people, but people know those names, because of the tax with crypto. But so you have to live down there for at least 3 years. And and then you can get the 0% tax with crypto, and you have to live down there at least half of the year. So you got to spend at least 6 months of the year
Yeah,
down
6
there,
months. Yeah.
and then you qualify for it. And you know what? It's actually, when I made 2021, when I made a lot of money, didn't cash it all out, but when I saw the money I was making, I was like, man, if I ever get to 20-30 million dollars or something like that, if that ever happens, I want to move to a crypto 0% tax or very low percent tax, like giving 40-50% over to the government of your money, like it's already too high. And then with crypto, I mean, I know if you wait a year, it's down to like 21% in some states and stuff. But I mean, if this was my, if it turns out that I can make really good money in crypto down the years and everything, and it's my living, it's like what I do for a living, like I will probably move out of the country if the U.S. could get their act together, and the taxes are so high, it's just absolutely ridiculous if I have to wait a year for it to get down to 21% for the capital gains tax and everything.
Right, because at the end of the day, nobody cares about a 1%, 2%, 3%, even 5% tax. But 20-30%, nobody's going to do that. Is insane.
Well, I wouldn't even if the, and this is just, and we're getting back to politics and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind too much if the government spent our money the right way, and our cities were cleaner, and streets were cleaner, and crime was down, and property tax. I mean, they started to use this stuff like more efficiently, and made our lives better around here.
Yes, but Paul, you either clean the streets and use the money wisely, but if you do that, you don't pay the senators that you need to lobby. So they need their pockets filled. So that's not going to happen.
Of course, I 100% agree with you. And it's not even just to the left; it's on the right also. This is not
all of it, absolutely all of it.
All of them do it. Yeah, 100%.
And speaking of BlackRock and all that stuff, that's just one aspect of crypto and how adoption. But you have to think of holistically how crypto is getting integrated in so many different areas. I mean, I think you can still buy a Tesla with Bitcoin, or maybe Doge too. I'm not really too sure. Maybe at one point, but it's when you start integrating, like Amazon's working on it. You got, I'm sure the big dogs, like Walmart and all them are going to integrate crypto somehow. So you start adding this kind of functionality of crypto within. Now people get curious, right? I mean, just earlier in the space, I talked about this company Milo, where you can actually use your crypto as, in a sense, collateral towards a mortgage. This is something that's very, very relatively new. I know when I was buying a house, I asked that very question: can I use my crypto and as a way to kind of show assets? And they're like, no, we don't. It's got to be tangible, liquid assets. And I'm like, well, it is liquid. I can cash out if I want to, but I don't want to. And
right, but that's because what they care about is not the fact that it's not tangible. It's the fact that it's volatile. That's their problem.
And all of this is changing on the fly, right? So now you have crypto being integrated in so many different business models that we're going to be at this place before we even realize we're there. And it's going to be right in our face where, you couldn't get away from it any more than you could get away from debit cards. They're just kind of the way it is right now, So
Moon
ubiquitous.
Just brought up an interesting point, in my opinion. And I maybe Paul knows this. As far as I know, in the United States, there is no lobbyist organization for crypto. And I think we need a huge lobbyist organization to drive crypto down the throats of the senators. This long list that I have here of 11 countries is such a variety of countries. I'll run down through it real quick. Germany, Belarus, El Salvador, Portugal, Singapore, Malaysia, Malta, Cayman Islands, Puerto Rico, Switzerland, and Georgia. I think we hit just about every governmental system in that list. So, but the United States is so far behind the rest of the world.
There is the Blockchain Association, and I believe the American Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Association. I don't know how they do the lobbying per se, but I know that they advocate for cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of. I think there's a couple of House representatives. I think they're younger that stand behind crypto. I think there's one in Colorado, but there are a few. I mean, they're not anything to move the needle or anything. Not anyone too important. So yeah, that's really taking a backseat. But yeah, I agree with you. There needs to be a bigger lobbying group on for crypto.
And it's so annoying, Paul, because I could understand a little bit of the situation we have regulatory-wise. You know, if this was 10 years ago, right? If there was no clear path forward, if there, we were the first in the world to do, but we're not. Again, that's why I always say to look at Europe and follow in their footsteps, because you have a very clear, set path forward on how to do things, if it's working or not, and how to do those things most efficiently. And yet they don't. We have it laid out for us, and they still don't. And I absolutely despise that. You have in front of you how to do it, and you still don't. To the detriment of everybody in your country. And I just can't get past that.
I think I think all the people running the U.S. are just too old to even, they're so used to the old, the investment system, and they're making money off that they're just so old that they don't get anything new. I mean, you see them up there when they, I don't know if you guys, I know the people in Europe, they probably don't see it, but you can watch the House representatives or Senate asking questions to the Tesla company or tech companies. They have no idea. They're just getting questions from their aides. They have no idea how to rebuttal or what to say back, because they have no idea, because they're, 70 years old. All of them are, 60, 70 years old. There's no one, young, because crypto's more for, not all, but, more so for the, people between 18 and probably 40. But they don't know any better, and when they do, they realize that there's money to be made. That's when they're going to really push, I think, when they realize there's money to be made in it.
Right. And let me just say, no offense to you, CWP, but you are the exception. You're the exception.
I was just going to hit Paul up with that.
I was
70 years old. That's almost a kid.
Yeah. But I'm saying majority, majority, you don't see a lot of, older people, in crypto, there's a lot of younger people, and, it's just not, it's get a lot of, people that are older, including myself. I mean, they get set in their ways and everything. They don't want to change, especially Congress. They don't want to change. They're making money off, the industrial complex and, the insider trading, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. They don't want it to change. They don't want anything to change the way they're doing stuff. Until they figure out how they can make money in crypto. And then next thing you know, stuff will change. It's all corrupt in a shitty system. It's ridiculous.
Frank, NFTs, you've been so patient. Go ahead.
Oh.
Sorry. Bart, just let me get a second. I got to bring up Frank.
Hey, g'day, guys. How is everyone?
Very well, sir. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Just going back to earlier on about taxes and stuff, there is such things called economic citizenship. For example, you can buy for $130,000 US a Vanuatuan citizenship, which gives you a passport, citizenship, and no capital gains tax. So you can open up a bank account, you can buy houses, you can do whatever you want. And there's a few places like that offer it. Being the more expensive is Germany, will cost you probably about 1.4 million. Australia is about 2 million. But yeah, when you look at little places like Vanuatu, why not? Avoid taxes because the government don't spend our money correctly.
Jeez, Paul, at one time that was chump change for you.
Also.
Shit. what was that? What was that first place? Manamatu? What is it?
No, Vanuatu.
Where is that? I've never heard of it.
It's a little Pacific island.
Vanuatu is the way I pronounce it. It's out just east of Australia.
What is it called?
Vanatu. It's a haven for addresses for the internet. It's one of the most active volcanic areas in the world. It's a beautiful island country.
I'm
What's the
booking my
population?
flight now.
What's the population, CWP?
Not many, but I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
It'll be +1 soon.
Yeah. Population. Yeah, I'll be the mayor. Yeah, I'll be the mayor when I get there. All right.
80 islands stretching 1,300 kilometers. Scuba diving, coral reefs, underwater caverns, and wrecks from World War II, like SS President Coolidge warship. Population, a massive 319,000.
Wow.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
No, the languages are Bislama, French, and English.
Interesting.
And for 300,000, you become the president.
Now, citizenship can be acquired through a contribution to the government of 130 grand for a single applicant and 180 grand for a family of 4.
There you go.
Huh.
Interesting.
And there's I'm looking at a citizenship by investment program for the country.
Do they have room for a Brooks Burger?
I'm sure.
Awesome. Bart, thanks for your patience. Go ahead, man.
I was just going to mention about the age demographics. It totally makes sense that it's the 18 to 40-year-olds that are playing the high-risk game with crypto. Crypto is extremely volatile, very risky. Very few people make a lot of profit in the space. So people that are more likely retirement-minded, they're not going to be throwing all of their money into crypto. That's going to change in a few years once things start getting more stable and people actually make realistic utilities that they can use. That volatility is going to decrease. But until that day, it's the 18 to 40-year-olds that's your target audience.
Makes a lot of
Which
sense.
just comes back to what we were talking about earlier, and especially when it comes to presidency of countries, where there's a limit to how young you can be to run for president, which I believe is 30 years old. I think it's the same in my country, but there's no upper limit to that.
35.
35. Obviously, we need an upper limit to that, as in, say 60 years old. If you're over 60, you can't run for president. Because don't take what I'm about to say wrong. I'm neither for or against the current president we have. I literally don't care. But at a certain point, you have Alzheimer's running your country. And I'm sorry, that is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form.
I think I somewhat agree with you. For instance, I just watched this thing on YouTube today with Paul McCartney. And he was singing and doing his thing, and he was very well spoken, knew what he was talking about very fast. And he's 81 years old. I didn't even realize it. Now, I'm not saying, we need, 80-year-old people running our country, but I do think what we do need is, and I don't care how old you are, maybe even, made it mandatory, one of those, what is it called, cognitive test, or one of those tests to make sure your head's on straight, maybe, every 2 years, especially when you, or maybe when you're running for president or whatever it is, to make sure you are past that.
I could get on board with that, sure.
Just something like that, because I see a lot of older people, not Biden. I mean, look, Biden's a little bit older than Trump, but I think Trump, is obviously a lot more there than Biden is. But Trump's got his own issues with spurting off at the mouth and doing all this stuff. But I think he's a lot more there than Biden is. Doesn't mean he's better or not better. I'm not trying to get in political debate, but if I don't think Biden would pass that test. I'll tell you that. I think Trump would.
Well, you're right about what you're saying. But the beauty about an age limit is that it would get rid of both of them. Just
true.
Immediately.
True. But also, there is, like I said, I've seen 7-year-olds like, a Paul McCartney, whatever, like these 7-year-olds, a lot of them, they don't look like they're 70. And, I think there is a case to be made of, there's wisdom in age and stuff. But so I'm with you there, but I'd rather a test be given. But I'm with you. Maybe 75 is like the limit or something. But I get you. I'd be open to discussion. I'm not against it, but I do think.
Listen, Paul, don't think I'm just criticizing the United States, because I'm not. This applies to everything. The previous president that my country had was also, I forget how much, 79, I believe. He spent more. I crap you not. He spent more time passing out on air while doing speeches than actually doing anything remotely useful as a president. How is this the president of a country? To this day, that baffles me. The man passed out live multiple times. I can't wrap my head around that.
It's happened here before too. I mean, yeah, I think Biden passed out. I think he fell asleep as nodded off at the United Nations or whatever it was. It happens all the time with him here.
See, part of the issue with American, the American system too, is that when you get to what they call the dinner table issues, is that people are talking about the common sense things that they're, that they need in their life. Like, obviously, medicine and healthcare and education and, food and the roads, the local roads that need to be fixed and, and clean drinking water. And, these are the kind of the issues that most of them talk about. Right. And so the people that go to run for office are talking about those issues. They're not talking about crypto. So why would you elect somebody, who's talking about crypto, instead of somebody who's appealing to those dinner table issues that I talked about? So, and those people tend to be a little older because, that's the demographic, right? So that's how I think why it's evolving in the way it is and why we have so many people. What were you going to say, Moon?
No, I was agreeing. Yeah, you have a point.
I want to throw a little history at you guys. This is a controversial statement, and I don't know if it was ever proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. But for at least the last year of his presidency, Ronald Reagan was so senile, he was incapable of acting in the presidency. And supposedly, his wife ran our country at the time.
Never heard of that.
It would not
That's
at all surprise me.
Yeah.
He was Parkinson's, right?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had Parkinson's. I think it was Parkinson's. Or Alzheimer's is one of them.
Or Alzheimer's.
Maybe a combination.
Yeah, it's one of them.
It's funny, people hold Reagan in such high regards too. He's kind of like the poster child at one point for the Republican Party. And even as a kid, I remember seeing him and thinking of him as a really good, decisive leader, and admired the man. You know what I mean? And it's interesting.
He won every state, but DC, right? Like
he won California.
Election. He won every state.
Yeah.
He won every state, I think, but DC and one other state, and which will never happen again, obviously. I think that's, with Sam, we joked around. He was talking about, me supporting DeSantis. I support DeSantis or Trump, but I think, I would like a Republican back in office. I think Republicans run the country better. But that's just my opinion. But I think DeSantis has a better chance of winning than Trump, just because of how hated Trump is, and people come out to vote against him. And if DeSantis is the nominee, then he's got a better shot at winning. I actually wish, even on the Democrat side, they were better candidates than Joe Biden. I'd be happy about that. Then I'd be happy about whoever wins.
Sam had actually thrown the name of Kennedy out there, and that's not a name that I've really heard.
He's not bad. Yeah, he's not bad. I've been listening to him. They're not doing it. They're not doing a Democratic debate. They won't have one I'm losing my train of thought here. They're not having a Democratic debate or a Republican debate before the general, before the nominees are set, before you vote for thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they won't do that. So I don't know how he's going to get his name out there to millions of people and get the backing.
I mean, if you ask me, what's the best president the United States ever had? Personally, my opinion, that's John F. Kennedy, hands down. So,
what is it about him as being president that struck you as being the best president?
Oh, sorry, I cut off for a second. What is it about?
Yeah, why JFK?
He did.
Yeah.
He did not. How do I put this? He was not pressured into doing what others wanted. He did what was best for the country, and that is ultimately what got him killed.
It's interesting. What do you think about that, Paul? Would you, if you were to pick a best president of the United States, who would you pick?
You know what? I don't. I'm not a history buff, so I don't. I obviously I don't even know all the presidents in order. I know a lot of them. I probably get 30, but I haven't paid attention, like read up enough on each and every president to know, how each and every one, affected our country. So I can really only go off of the ones, where I've been alive and, been old enough to remember, to know, who was the best president, who I thought the best president was. So I couldn't even speak on, if I had to go back, I'd probably say Abraham Lincoln, because he just, did more for the country than, most, as far as changing the direction with the Civil War and everything. But I don't know enough, Kennedy, I think Kennedy is a good option on that, like you said.
I mean, the most influential presidents and the ones that did the most for even humanity as a whole. Yes, Abraham wins. Yeah. I mean, hands down.
Yeah,
it's so not. It's not like a black and white issue. It's so because each president has done some pretty incredible things. Like I think of Nixon and the EPA. That was a pivotal moment in U.S. history for environmental protection. So everybody knows Nixon as being a crook and all that, but even the crook did some good things. You know what I mean? What do you think, CW? What do you think, CWP? I mean, you've seen the last 10, so what do you think? I'm just kidding, man.
I want to throw my vote out for the last decent Republican president who was much, much more than decent. And yes, I'm old enough to remember him, and that was General Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Next time any of you guys are out on the interstate driving, thank Ike. Because Eisenhower, after World War II, he was so impressed with the German Autobahn that he came back, he raised taxes to 92% was a top tax, and he built the U.S. interstate system, basically by himself. He also gave us the "Don't Trust the Military Industrial Complex."
Yeah, I remember that speech. That was like, wow. I mean, for him to come up and say that, there was, and
he's, look at what we've got from that now, and he saw that handwriting on the wall, especially having been a general.
Yeah,
it's almost like. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
With the taxes we pay now, we should have, jetways and, that go from across country that take like an hour, back and forth. Like, you see all these futuristic movies with these, high speed rails, going cross countries and this and that. We should have all that kind of stuff with the amount of taxes that we pay. But instead we got a debt ceiling that's what, like 30 trillion or whatever it is. It's ridiculous. Just print money, inflation is high. It's ridiculous.
Are all of you aware that the United States government spends more money on the military than all the other countries in the world combined?
Combined, yep.
Yeah, I think it's like, what is it? 850 billion a year. I think that's what it is.
It's an insane amount of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could probably.
We don't know anything about the money because it's not subject to Congress.
Right. I think if you saw a breakdown of your tax statement, where all the money goes, you'd probably be pretty shocked. But I mean, in all fairness, it's not Europe, where we're spread out so much over the United States. We have an enormous amount of territory to cover, and all of that territory needs infrastructure and electricity and all these things that come into it, roadways, and they all need maintenance. So I'm not saying that's a pass right there, but we definitely, as a country, have a ton of challenges. So, I mean, a lot of that is solved by, large cities and stuff like that, but it's not all of it.
I don't think I'm going to live to see this if it ever happens, but I think the solution for this country is to get rid of the two-party system and have multiple parties that have influence and part of the government, as almost every other country has that's not a dictatorship.
Honestly, CWP, I think that will work better than the current system. I think it will fix the big divisive problem that we currently have in the United States, but I don't think it will fix most problems. I think it will make it slightly better, but I don't think it will fix most problems. I think the only way to fix most problems is a complete overhaul of the government system. And until that happens, that's another 100 years until that happens.
If it happens without a civil war, which
Right.
is questionable.
I think having limit terms for the House and the Senate would help a lot.
Amen.
I think that would help immense.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That would help so much, so they wouldn't, just be doing stuff just to stay in office and make sure they could, make money and this, that, the other thing. Have it for 8 years, whatever it is. Same thing as the president. I think that would help immensely.
And no politician getting out of office becoming a lobbyist.
Yeah, I think that would do wonders, kind of, because a lot of times they're looking for their next gig, right?
And no trading. They can't, trade. I know they can't trade their husband. You got Nancy Pelosi's husband trading this, that, the other thing. They got to report it, but they don't pay attention to it. It's so corrupt. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's another one. Just straight out making any sort of lobbying whatsoever corruption. Period. You do this, you're corrupt. You do that, you fix a lot of problems.
Absolutely. Well, guys,
I had a question about these spaces in general.
Sure, go ahead.
The spaces we have here on Twitter, are they the only community spaces as of now?
You mean like the one we're doing right now here? Are you talking
yes.
Are you talking about the one?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
The answer is yes. Unless we do an official one that we announce from the main page, yes, this is really the only community one we have right now.
Okay, and this is you do these every Saturday, is that right?
That's right. Yep, you bet. Saturday at 2, my time anyway. And I post these on to Spotify and all that stuff, and I do an accompanying YouTube video as well, so that people who are not on the platform could also listen.
Nothing against you, Steve. I'd love to see some other people do this.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we'll start, once the utilities and products are coming out, I think, and more people come back to EverGrow and our community grows, I think we'll, have a lot more going on. Obviously we're going to have spaces on Atlas, we're going to have spaces on LunaSky, and there'll be a lot more to talk about with what's going on once we have stuff out. A lot of, with Atlas, a lot of other projects to talk to on there that, we partner with. There'll be a lot more going on. We understand it's right now. It's not difficult, but, we can update you, on what's going on, but, everyone, and I can understand everyone's tired of hearing hype and updates and stuff. They just want it out. And I totally get it. That's why, Steve can tell you and the beta testers can tell you, it's until you're behind, you see what's going on, you're actually in the thick of it. Like it's hard to comprehend. You're like, how come you just can't, do this and get it out? That's what I thought originally. Like, what are all these projects taking so long? And just pay extra money and do it. And I wish that were the case, it would have already been done. It's a lot that goes into this stuff, and it's difficult.
Paul, I can say, being that it recently just came on the team, everything you all have ever told about the work you have done, and I'm seeing this behind the scenes, and it's all 100% true. Our first, when you all came out, you built a house of straw. A little wind came through, blew it down. You devs promised you a house of sticks. It fell through. Now you're in a house of bricks, and you're building it brick by brick and mortar by mortar, and it just takes time. You got to build it right, and it's got to withstand a storm.
We'd actually go ahead, Paul.
Thanks, man. No, I was saying thanks, man. That's absolutely right.
The Rocket was here earlier. I was talking to him in on the Creator Core channel for LunaSky, and we never really got into it, but he went into some detail of how his perception of the development of LunaSky V2 was he thought it was going to be one thing in terms of complexity, and he was completely, like he said, I had no idea, had no clue just how complex it was to give you guys the very, very best NFT marketplace. Probably terrifying to a certain degree because of the amount of work that goes into it. Third dev team, you know what I mean? It's just this kind of progression just to see how much work has gone into it. And like I said before, you guys should be incredibly proud of just the level of detail that these guys are going into. I mean, we talked about, right now we're in the bug bash kind of a phase of LunaSky V2. After that, then it's basically, if there's any issues, bring them up to the devs, and then it's going out. So we're right there, man. So you guys should be really, really excited. I wish he was still.
And it's such a, I can't even say upgrade because that's not the word, from the LunaSky that's out now. It's not even upgrade. It's a, it's a whole new platform. It's beautiful. It should be very straightforward to use. And you can actually, it's not, you don't upload one NFT at a time. I mean, these are just little things, but I mean, they've really gone above and beyond to give you the good features. And now, like, any collection can launch on there, 10,000, 15,000, they can just launch, and it's not going to take, them, days and days to upload. No project would launch anyway. You can't, most projects can't launch on the old LunaSky, the one that's out now, just by the way it's built. This one is built basically, kind of like, OpenSea, where you can, launch new collections and projects and have your own profile that's so much better, and everything's just, I mean, it's so much better in the complexity, obviously, but the complexity is behind the scenes. You guys won't see that. I mean, you'll see how complex it is, but from behind the scenes with a contract that it takes and everything like that, I mean, Cody and Rocket have these guys have done a lot of work, late nights and everything. I can't give them enough, credit, because, they're really NFT. Rocket was already an NFT guy. Cody's become an NFT guy. Me and Sam were on the wallet side, but those guys are in NFTs. But the work they've done on it, and when it comes out, you guys are going to see it, and I cannot wait for them to see it. And it's all thanks to them and the devs, obviously.
Go ahead, Bart.
Yeah, so a while back, Sam had mentioned something about a 24/7 radio channel for the community. I don't know if it was 24/7. I don't remember the exact details. It was a few weeks ago. But you mentioned more people doing spaces. Is there any further
Hey, Paul, I had a
thought about
question
doing
about
that?
branding.
Hang on a second on the go. I think you couldn't hear, but Bard was talking.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just wondered if Paul had any more information about that. If it was just a random thought, or if you're actually developing an idea.
No, we're talking about it, and I think it might happen when this, like Sam said, it's like a volcano. All this stuff is coming to a head all at once. Once LunaSky is ready, literally, a couple weeks after that, staking, then Atlas Wallet, and then the game, everything's going to come out. So, those kind of things. It's, if we have the manpower, how much is the guy, or are we all going to be with Atlas Wallet, the team? And is everyone going to be, with LunaSky? How's it all going to go? Is it going to flow? We're going to have enough people to man, the 24-hour, spaces going on. Maybe we give it a try for a day or two and see how it goes. But, the more we talk about it, the more, if we get a lot of new people, and I'm talking about a whole ton of new people, then we can definitely do that. But we just don't know yet, because there's a lot of dead space in there, a lot of dead time in there. So maybe we do it during the day, or in the afternoon, evening, so the European hours are in there too. So we're definitely thinking about it. It's just the timing's got to be right.
Thank you, Bard. On the go, I'll let you ask one more question here, and then I have to close the space out. So please go ahead. On the go. Go ahead.
On the go. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can now. Sorry, it's in and out there. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead. What was your last question there for
the
Paul?
For EGC branding and stuff to use in content, is everything is up for grabs, right? Like nothing has to be approved through you guys. If you put it out, it's up for grabs.
Yep, all up for grabs. Go ahead if you want to use it to sell something or do whatever. Go ahead.
I just mean like for video content and stuff like that.
On the EGC site, there is actually a press kit, and there's logos and all that stuff you can use.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, unless you were like, yeah, I mean, it's really for the community. Like, obviously, other projects need our permission to use, EverGrow stuff if they wanted to, if they're using it in their project or something. Like if you're an actual token or something. But the community was selling T-shirts and burgers and this, that, the other thing, logo on websites. That stuff is fine. Another project, another token. Obviously they would need permission or something like that. But yeah, all's okay for you guys.
Is there a way to submit our EGC videos to management or how does that work? I saw somehow on the Discord.
So what are you talking about? Making a video for promotional stuff or?
Yeah, just promoting and educational videos about EGC for everybody.
I mean, you could always, put them out on your own Twitter and then tag us, if you want. If you want to work with, Nicola or one of the community managers, or maybe message me if I have time, or message some of the guys and kind of, put up the ranks, kind of get it to us and, see what you want to do with it. But mostly people, tweet them out and then tag us, then we take a look at them. And if it's, good enough or catches everyone's attention, we can retweet it or something like that. But if it's something more than that, I would say, send it to one of the top guys on Discord or, in Twitter and their messages, and we'll check it out.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, guys. Any final thoughts or questions before I close the space out? I want to thank you guys for being here today. Really appreciate it.
No, I want to say thanks, everyone. I'm going to get out of here. Steve, I'm going to be closing down. But thanks, guys. Appreciate everyone. And hopefully we'll have some good news next Saturday. Take it easy, guys.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it very much.
Awesome. You guys have a great week. And I just want to say I still can't believe there's an EverGrow burger. I think that's amazing.
Awesome. I cannot wait to have one. I want to thank you guys all for being here today. Sam, I know you're gone now. Paul, thank you so much. Rocket, Moon, and CWP, Bard, Zelda, Christopher Egner, Hersan, thank you for being here. I don't know if you're still here anymore. And a shout out to our community, Rick B, Michael Garber, Joel M, Simon, Monty Bucks, In Sam We Trust, I Savior, Will Gracious, Exponential EverGrow, Big B, and The Shy, William Blake, Taximan, ADL EverGrow. Who else we got in the space? Safe Moon, and DG, and Lotus Blue, ETH. Who else we got here? Mighty Mike. Thanks for being here today. And AL10, Dan. Who else we got? EverGrow, Nando, G00, David, and Eric Roby, a new face I haven't seen here before. Welcome. Hope you had a good listen. And Kilo Delta Bravo. Good to have you here with us on the Saturday. Pepe 2020. And I, Ben X Gene. Miko, Sebastian De Reuter, and my apologies if I butchered that. And Weed Got Me Killed. I love it. Hope you guys have a great, great day. Thank you so much for being here today. And let's do this again next Saturday. Have yourself a very great weekend. Thank you so much, guys. Bye for now.